Here, I was doing some last minute checking on a story as I was looking at all of their uh, different stories they pulled from to come up with the story that they posted. And the story is really, I think, very interesting. And I'm not holding out hope against hope. I think that it's going to be a major story for a lot of people, but I don't know if anything is going to come out of it. I don't know if anybody is going to get into any kind of problems with it at all. To be honest, did you come across the story today, Val, dealing with the intelligence director? Tulsi Gabbard. Did you see what she?
Not yet. I haven't.
What she released yesterday?
What happened?
Well, she released some papers, big papers, that showed the people who were working to impeach Trump by trumping up a bunch of charges on him.
Of course. I mean, that's been we've known that.
Not well.
Well, I mean, not the
we haven't had any proof.
Right.
Now we got proof.
Uh-oh.
I'm big time excited about this. I'm hoping this blows up into something. It should.
Like, I'm really sick and tired of these leftists. That's all they say, about how he's a criminal.
Oh, well, yeah.
Of course he is, because they made him one so that they would win.
And that's exactly right. Let me go to that story. I'm finding it right now so that I can read it to you, because it's an eye opener.
Look at Dave. He looks so snazzy today.
I'm actually wearing a regular shirt today.
Yeah.
Usually I wear a hoodie.
It's getting hot outside.
It's getting hot outside, but that doesn't change the fact that inside my studio,
it's cold.
It's cold. I mean, I'm surprised with a hoodie on that I don't show up with ice on my teeth or something. The way it gets cold in here. It's
I know, and I sit over here and suffocate.
Yeah, you gotta turn up the heat over where you're at.
So here's the thing. So every day we come in and there's something new that they've added.
Yeah, they've moved the cameras around again.
And this is what I was thinking this morning. I was like, what if I just went in with no makeup on today because I overslept by like 10 minutes?
You don't want to do that.
And I was like, well, there's no cameras in there right now. They're not doing anything.
There is
and then it puts it on me, and I was like, okay, that was weird. That was weird. I was literally thinking that today too.
All right. So from the office director of the National Intelligence Committee, or intelligence, it's not a committee, it's an office. Today, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released never-before-seen documents exposing a coordinated effort by elements within the intelligence community, including a former IG, to manufacture a conspiracy that was used as the basis to impeach President Trump in 2019. Deep state actors within the intelligence community, can you say Brennan? Concocted a false narrative that was used by Congress to usurp the will of the American people and impeach the duly elected President of the United States, said Gabbard. Just the News reports Gabbard's office said former Intelligence Community Inspector General Michael Atkinson, quote, relied upon politicized, manufactured narratives, only conducting interviews with 4 individuals, the whistleblower, the whistleblower's friend, who was a co-author of the January 2017 Russia hoax intelligence community assessment, and close colleague of disgraced former FBI agent Peter Strzok. Remember that name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
who was the other one?
Well, there was a girl.
Yeah, there was a woman. I can't remember. Peter Strauss and I can't remember her name now.
Yeah, it was his friend with benefits.
Yeah.
Anyway, and 2 character references who had zero firsthand knowledge of the July 2019 phone call on there. So this is interesting. This I wonder, can you try to get on for tomorrow? See if our folks up in District 1 will join us.
Rick Crawford?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he's on the Intelligence Committee, and see if he's had a chance to look at these papers. Tell him specifically, I want to talk to him about what Gabbard released yesterday about them trying to set up the president. And I want to know who were the congressional people who were behind all of this. The people that were working in their office, and the name of the people who were, holding the office. I think we need to know that too. So we got that, and then we got two people that they're going to get for this. I don't know what you call this, the diddling investigation, maybe.
Diddling?
Yeah, maybe we should call it that. I guess you heard Swalwell is going to resign. He came out and said he's going to say, and Gonzalez is going to resign from down in Texas.
Yeah, I just heard that one.
Yeah.
I just heard that one. So
that's 2 down, and how many more to go?
Yeah, and the thing is how many other people did Swalwell allow to get in there, like the Chinese
his Chinese spy
employee that he had that we talked about a long time ago too, but that's insane. So you overlook everything about this person except for they were probably giving you something.
They had an interesting interview this morning as I was driving in from a managing editorial editor at the California Post. And he was naming the names of people who were protecting Swalwell and were giving him access to stuff that he should have never had access to. I'll give you 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count. A Democrat who was swinging towards Swalwell and giving him information that he couldn't get any other way. Who do you think it was?
Probably Nancy Pelosi.
See?
Yeah.
You only had to say one name.
That's because we're on the same wavelength, Dave.
Yeah, Pelosi. Now, if there, besides,
where did you see? Where did you see that at? I didn't see that.
That was a story this morning that I was tipped off to, that I found very, very interesting. I got to tell you, it's going to be very interesting.
Pelosi is like the devil.
Well, see, if there's only one other woman that I want to see in orange more than I want
Hillary
to see.
Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Than Pelosi. She's
awful. Pelosi has been leading this whole thing. Nobody said anything about Joe Biden until she did.
Yeah. Well, she was
what is she going to do to you if you did? She would ruin your career in Congress.
She had most of the backing of everybody.
How does one person get that much power?
They stay inside the halls of power for a long time.
Term limits, people. If ever this generation didn't understand why we need term limits, it's right now.
Yeah. Well, we passed those laws in states, but and to their credit, it was the right decision. It went before the Supreme Court, and they said that states couldn't make that decision because the Constitution says about how you can get rid of people, and if you want to get term limits, you're going to have to bring a constitutional amendment out, and you're going to have to get 2/3 of the states to agree, and then 2/3 of the House and Senate to agree.
And you know what I say, Dave? I say you vote those people in and out until they do it. If somebody won't vote on it, then they get voted out the next election.
That's the way it was always seen by the founding fathers. I mean, that's the way they wanted it to be done. They didn't want that other members of another political party or a political schism somewhere inside the House or the Senate was leading the charge on this. They wanted the people
Heck, they couldn't even get George Washington to stay more than one term.
Well, he stayed. He stayed 2 terms.
He stayed 2, but
they offered him kingdom,
one.
and he didn't take it.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why he's my favorite president.
I know, mine too.
He's my favorite president, and that's that the American people don't get it.
They don't, because they think, oh, well, I like him, though. I've gotten to know him, though. And now I have access, so I don't want him to go. And that's the part that people don't understand. If someone's getting access to a member of Congress, a state legislator, a governor, a president, that means they're not asking the hard questions. I mean, that's literally what it boils down to. You're there for their entertainment. You're not getting anything that you should be getting real talk from them.
Well, it's not going to change until the American people change. I mean, that's the key. They've got the American people have got to throw these people out on their ear, and we're going to get rid of 2 of them here.
I know.
Maybe more.
He's been there for a long time.
Maybe more.
He's been there for a long time.
So Swalwell is going. USA Today reporting today that Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez announced that he will resign from Congress after he admitted to having an affair with a former staffer who died by self-immolation. She burned herself alive.
Is that the one that set herself on fire?
Yes.
Is that because he was having what was
because they were having an affair?
Who does that though?
Yeah, well,
who does that?
Let me just put it this way: that's a weak person. I'm going to be honest.
And he must have taken advantage of her.
Yeah, and he did. There's no doubt about that. Quote: "There is a reason for everything, and God has a plan for us all. When Congress returns tomorrow, I will file my retirement from office." That's what Gonzalez wrote back on, that was yesterday, April 13th. He wrote that on X. He ended his re-election bid in March after U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Republican leaders called on Gonzalez to withdraw from a May runoff for the party's nomination against gun activist Brandon Herrera. The Hill reports earlier this year, the Express News, that would be the San Antonio Express News, reported that Gonzalez had an affair with his district director, Regina Ann Santos Avias, who later died by suicide. They cleaned that up just a little bit. Text messages said to be extracted from Santos Avila's phone and provided by her widower to media outlets, including The Hill, appeared to show Gonzalez soliciting sexual material from Santos Avilas, as she said he was going too far. Gonzalez admitted to the affair, which sparked an ethics committee investigation in the House and led to him effectively ending his re-election bid, but he had said he would stay in Congress through the end of his term. That's according to The Hill. It's not clear when the last day will be for either Swalwell or Gonzalez.
Well, I hope that they don't drag it out.
Well, they shouldn't.
It's time for them to go.
I mean, I thought they both would. Reading both of their statements, it's like as soon as they get back in today, they're going to turn in their papers to get out.
I just want to say one thing to the ladies out there. It is never bad enough for you to burn yourself alive.
Yeah, there's not. There's no reason to. Well, it's not a reason to commit suicide.
Period. Over some man. That's insanity.
Yeah, you've got some real things to take a look at. Yeah, no, she can't be counseled now. I feel sorry for her ex-husband, her widower. I guess they were still married when she killed herself, and it's just sad. It just really is. And you got now, I'm not going to say that there's not a lot of good members up there in Capitol Hill. I mean, from what I can tell, Westerman's a great guy.
I love Westerman.
Hill's a good guy.
Yep.
You got
Crawford's
Crawford. And I don't know enough about Olmec to call it out one way or the other than the times I've had him on the air. He was a great interview. And then Cotton and Bozeman both. I don't see them, behind the scenes, being somebody's, friend with benefits.
No. I mean, well.
I'm not saying it can't happen because we're all human. Okay, we're all human. But man, that's just so sad that this lady, because Gonzalez, I guess, broke off the affair.
I think it's disgusting.
She lit herself on fire.
It's disturbing that these people go up there and for whatever reason it may be. Like, are they away from their families? Are they away from their wife and they feel like they can just do whatever up there? So they just go and have all these affairs? Yes. Like, that's insanity.
I can answer yes to all the questions that you just brought up.
I've worked closely with people before and I've not had affairs. Like, if I'm married, I'm married. I was married for 20 years. Like, you don't have an affair if you're married. Well, like, you get a divorce.
Well,
and you don't. That's just, it's crazy. When something's in secret, ladies, I'm going to tell you that too. When something's in secret and somebody doesn't want to tell, there's other things going on there.
Oh, yeah.
So pay attention.
And if I were anybody, and I'm Dave, all right? Just Dave.
Just Dave.
It's easy to fall into some bad behavior. It really is. It's not difficult to do it at all. However, you should take yourself out of those situations so that you don't,
it's hard to do, though.
cheat on your wife or your husband. All right, let's take a break. It's 7:23. It's a Tuesday. We're on our way to getting the worst day of the week done. I think Tuesday's worse than Monday. So here we are, ready to go. We'll come back and we'll talk more about what's in the news right now. It's the news dump hour here on the Dave Ellswick Show. All right, back with you here on the Dave Ellswick Show. Okay, so there's a lot of people's names now that are being fired left and right around the Capitol. about who may be next to go from Congress.
Well, this one I'm reading, this is on our townhall.com where you can get all that great news from Salem. So taking down Eric Swalwell was part of a revenge campaign, at least for former pharmaceutical executive Martin Shkreli, who was sentenced to 7 years in prison for securities fraud in 2017. He was responsible for releasing the video showing the congressman frolicking with an alleged sex worker. It's a damning video, if true. Swalwell kissing her with the purported escort sandwiched between the California liberal and another man on a bed. There's someone else recording it as well. But he says, so to all House Dems, this can happen to you easily. I'm going to tell you one time, don't F with me. At Rokana, you effed with me. That's against the affirmation rules. So you next. Everyone has a secret, a vice, a mistake, but no, not everyone has a determined enemy. Tread carefully. So there's something coming out about Rokana.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. There's always something. I mean,
this is the kind of guy like Epstein, though. You know, he's got all these secrets.
Oh yeah,
he was a pharmaceutical.
Well, yeah, that's how he's buttered people's bread. He's given them money for their campaign.
Yeah, he was an executive.
He's done all kinds of stuff,
and that's why term limits.
You know, well,
and they can't get anything to hold over you if you're not there 50 years.
Well, they can't get anything to hold over you if you don't do something.
Well, yeah, but how do we know who's going to be that person?
As far as that,
right?
That's concerned. I just don't know. I'm just tired of these people.
Taking up the news. We got other important things to talk about than their sexual abuse allegations.
They shouldn't be doing, and they know they shouldn't be doing it. I'm sure this went on more often maybe then than it does now, because, I mean, look, everybody can post a picture of anybody onto the internet in, just a heartbeat. Some people watch what they're doing for the most part. You just better know that if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, maybe you shouldn't be doing it.
I'm going to be searching Rokana's name every day now.
No. Yeah,
see what's coming out.
Of course, he's there from California too, Rokana.
Oh, he's the one slapping us and telling us we're bad.
Oh yeah. Well, so was Swalwell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Swalwell was one. The only guy I know that's worse than him is the guy that was in the House that led the impeachment charge all the time.
Oh, what's his name? Adam.
Yeah.
Schiff. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a piece of garbage right there.
Believe me, he must have pictures of people with goats or something. That's all I can think.
He got a pardon. He got a stinking pardon from President Biden or whoever was running the things back whenever that happened.
When Biden was getting ready to get out.
I know we got to get to news, but there's something we'll talk about with Kamala Harris when we come back. Very important point that one of her supporters brought up that makes light of why they just appointed her.
Oh boy! All right, we'll talk about that. With her IQ, it's not hard to disappoint her. That's just
disappoint.
Pretty easy. I can't even imagine just dating her, to be honest.
It's
all right,
hard.
Let's get to the opinion. All right, back with you. Okay, you got this stuff for us about Kamala Harris.
What did you see what she did? Like I was going to play it because it's cringeworthy. It's ridiculous. But I was going to say one of her fans that were apparently in this audience, I was reading the article yesterday, made a really good point. When she goes up in the primary for the Democratic primary, there's no way that she'll win against men. That's why they appointed her. I guarantee you, because they didn't think that she would win against men.
Yeah, well, she can't win against women either.
Not anymore, no. No. But listen to what she did. This was horrible.
You got her talking. Let's hear the word salad for the morning.
Okay, her internet goes.
It's loading.
Oh, of course we have a commercial here.
It's telling us about legal Zoom, just so you'll know.
We need to get them to advertise.
Because tomorrow, your taxes are due.
Yeah.
Have you done yours?
Nope.
Yeah, I got mine done. I when I put it in, they said we won't get it to it on time, Dave. So we're just going to apply with an extension.
I always fly by the seat of my britches.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
All right, here we go.
Okay, you got it now?
Yeah. Well, it's not playing.
Is when he talks about America first, it's to withdraw from these relationships and these connections. And then he kind of acts like a mob boss. So then he's kind of like, well, you take Eastern Europe, and I'll take the Western Hemisphere. And then you over there, you get Asia. And we'll just divide it up. Right?
Like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
like, that was cringeworthy.
Let me just say this. She'll never be Marlon Brando.
Oh, my God. Why even do that?
Because she thinks that she's making a valid point, which
but
she's not.
Nobody even paid attention to anything she said.
No.
They were just like, oh, my God.
They were giggling at her. Yeah, they were giggling at her.
It's crazy.
And nobody said that she was dealing with the full deck. Okay, and she's not.
She's probably drunk.
The other day,
allegedly.
she made the other statement. The other day, she said that, she was considering running for president again. And the first thing that went through my mind was, oh, please, Democrats.
Please do.
Put her up again.
I know.
Put her up again.
I know, me too.
And so, Trump would beat her senseless in a rematch. Well, it wouldn't be Trump. It'd be J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. And they would really
shred her
apart live and on the stage, because all this woman can do is to talk in word salads. That's all she can do, and make no sense whatsoever.
None. She's like Biden, but she's supposedly coherent.
Well, she's coherent. She is the perfect example of a manufactured political. That's what she is. She talks like a political. She looks like a political. She dresses like a political, and she doesn't have a singular thought in her head that's worth listening to. Really not. It is not. That's just the way she is. Anyway, if she runs, she runs. She'll be the first one out. When after the first debate, she'll be the first one out.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no way.
Who was it? Was it her that went after Biden about busing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was in the first go round.
And then she dropped out immediately because she got no traction with that at all.
I think she just enjoys getting all that money.
Well, here's the
probably gets a new wardrobe.
But here's the key, Val. She's the perfect example of a person who runs for an office, has nothing to offer, but thinks so highly of herself. It's ridiculous.
Oh, she does. She just thinks that because people tell her that, though. People tell her that.
Weren't you ever told when you were younger not to read your own press clippings?
No.
Nobody ever told you that?
No. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do read mine, but I have such thick skin sometimes.
I was told when I played baseball. You're not as good as you think you are when you have a great game, and you're not as bad as people say you are when you have a bad game. You're somewhere in the middle there. And the sooner you learn that, the better off you're going to be. And I believe that.
I mean, you have to think about it. Other people, we look at other people and we form an opinion of them. And the way I see it is other people have an opinion that they can form of me or you, they don't necessarily aren't positive. And so that's their right. But it's not always correct or not always accurate. It's just because they're angry with something you said.
Here's all I say. If you don't like me, or if you do like me, when you get your diary, just make sure you write down that you listen to the radio show from 7 in the morning until 11. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
And do it more than one day.
Yeah, do it more. Yeah, do it. Fill out your book for whatever the time is. Fill it out and leave it the same every day.
It's interesting. I used to listen to Rush because I hated him.
Yeah.
I hated Rush. I was a little liberal back then in college. And I remember I'd listen to him on the way to work or away to anywhere when he was on in the morning. And I just would sit there and argue with him. But I hated him. But I listened because I wanted to know what he was saying.
And he broke through your walls.
No, actually, it was you, Dave.
Slowly getting to, well, look, I don't do things the way Rush did things. All right.
No.
And the reason I can't, there's some things that Rush did I wish I could have done, but I would have to have a staff of about 4 people. And
no couth.
Yeah.
That's the thing I just didn't like. I felt after I become a conservative, he made conservatives look bad. So just the way that he said things, like with the Sandra, what is her name, about her being on birth control. I was just like, wow. Well,
there's people who say things like that about me when I see pictures of, Amy Carter or, the Clinton's daughter. And I say, boy, she had every branch falling out of the ugly tree. Yeah.
She's not so bad anymore, but yeah, as a kid, she was.
Yeah. Well, she got her teeth fixed. Yeah. That was the number one thing for Amy. Yeah. Had to get her teeth fixed. But I'll tell you what, if you listen to her talk, she can make a valid argument. Mm-hmm. And so can, Clinton. Mm-hmm. She can do the same thing. Of course, she was smart. She married somebody with money so that if she got to get divorced, she'll leave the marriage with money.
With money, yeah. I wasn't that smart.
And that's the thing, yeah. That's the thing as well. But anyway.
I mean, sometimes I don't necessarily, I guess in terms of being a man talking about a woman in that way, that was my problem with Rush. Now, I'm a woman and I'll talk that way about women, but I'm a woman. Right. You know what I mean? So it was just different. But no, it was you. You're the one that brought me over to the dark side.
Really?
Do you remember when I first came on your show, in 2009 or 10, and I was not Second Amendment?
Oh, yeah.
And then I went all crazy with it.
Yeah. Well, and then you read John Lott's book.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had him on my show, and then I was like, and then all of a sudden, boom, we had open carry.
Here's the difference between a liberal who's smart and a liberal who is as dumb as a stack of bricks. And that is, a liberal who's smart will read the other people's writings and take them into consideration.
That's what I did.
One that's dumb as bricks is the one who won't read anything outside their wheelhouse.
And that goes for politicians too. I hate when a politician says something and they're I'm sticking to my stance, but you just got new information that changed your mind, but you're still sticking to your stance. And that always tells me it's because there's a reason for that. It's because they're either getting paid for that opinion, or, there's no reason why somebody could read something that goes against what they believe and then continue to believe it, unless you're just not that bright.
Well, it's like people who are adherents, big time adherents to the green agenda, and they don't take into consideration how much it takes to build an electric car. and they want everybody to own an electric car and don't realize how much damage that particular it's worse than the internal combustion engine because of all the rare minerals that they use in those batteries and whatnot. And you can go on and on about things. Well, we're following all these rules and we're not doing any more pollution on anybody. And then you think about, but when it comes down to China and India and a lot of third world nations that just want to become second world nations and are polluting and making their energy, you don't think about that. You don't consider any of that. Not facts. And I'll die on my hill on this. When it comes to facts, people on the left pay no attention to them at all. Zip. Boy, with that background behind me, I look like I'm in what is it, THX. What was that movie that they did about the robot? That's kind of what this looks like. Or it could be a holodeck, in Star Trek.
Well, I got 2 different remotes in here now.
So
I'm like trying to fiddle with the remotes.
Okay, you got
new remote, yeah.
Okay,
new cameras.
We got
on one angle. That was the last angle. This is the old one.
Okay, so this is the new one here, right?
No, this.
That I'm
the one that was sideways view.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. I don't know which side is the best for my profile. I don't know. To be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't like the side.
And I'm the guy who wanted us to do this. I wanted us to,
for years. You've been pushing this
to keep all this up. Not that I wanted to be quote on TV.
No, but you knew it was coming.
But I knew this was coming and that people were going to expect it. And I'm usually when I start talking about radio, I get in front of the curve.
Well, I mean, when you were still over at the other.
Yeah.
And Curtis had his show, and like that was the new wave right there. And I think if Curtis still had his studio,
no, I don't think so. I think he
that would have
sold it all off.
Yeah, but it was coming at that point, and that was at the beginning of it.
It's hard. It's hard for people, I think, to see beyond what radio is right now, which is everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm on every platform, and I give Tommy here at the station credit for this. I mean, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube, I'm everywhere.
Rumble.
Now, yeah. If you want to see my show, you can see it, or you want to listen to it, you can go to any of those other places and listen to it. That was something that I wanted to get into because people take in their media in all kinds of different ways now.
Mm-hmm.
I even do TikTok. Tommy puts me on TikTok. He has problems finding, 50 seconds that he can use, but he does a pretty good job. I give him credit.
Yeah.
He does.
Well, also the software makes it so easy now too. Like I don't want to get on TikTok. I still don't want to get on TikTok. I have a problem. I know it's
communist.
Yeah, it's still, everyone keeps sending me TikTok videos to look at. Sorry, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not. I won't do it.
Yeah, I don't watch TikTok.
Everyone's like, you can make so much revenue. I'm like, it's not worth it to me. I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't have anything to hide from anyone, but I don't want to give the Chinese satisfaction of having one more person.
Well, they were supposed to sell that.
Yeah, but it's still half and half.
Is it all?
So
is it still just stuck in limbo?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. All right. And I can understand that. I don't know how you can go in and be the Supreme Court and say, you got a good business model, but you can't be in business.
Right.
I got a little bit of problem with that.
But you can't have our info either.
I will be honest that the Chinese, if they got a Facebook or if they've got TikTok or they're influencers or whatever, that's the operative word with them. Influencers. They're trying to make you think that their way of doing stuff, of being a communist nation of all things, is better than being a capitalist set up.
But it's really a lie, because if you ask, there was a survey that a couple of years ago that that I was reading that if you ask Chinese kids what they want to be when they grow up, they say astronauts, doctors, all of those things. If you ask American kids what they want to be when they grow up, and they
Rap
say
artist.
influencer.
Yeah, I want to be a
Influencer.
rap artist, you know.
And they don't even show the same TikTok in over there.
I want to be a rap artist with a really big butt. You know, that's what I want to be.
I like big butts. But no, like they show propaganda content. Like your kids over there, they can't get the TikTok. They don't have the same TikTok that they have here. It's completely different TikTok.
And see, that is the best way to do something like that.
Oh,
is
yeah.
to give people what they think is
Fun.
the free stuff, and really it's all controlled by the government.
I mean, it's propaganda. It's for Chinese. You are learning about the Chinese government and the Chinese history, and
that's how you're learning about it, you are a very useful idiot.
Right, because you're learning what they want you to know.
That's exactly right.
I bet you they don't tell you about all the other stuff.
No, they don't. They don't.
Mao
I bet
Zedong.
you. Yeah, they don't talk about Mao. You know, Chairman Mao and all the millions of people that he killed. You know, they don't talk about that. All right, it's 9 minutes until 8. We got to get a break in. Let's see, who we got coming up at 8?
Dr. Small.
Okay, and he's going to talk about prayer, right?
We're going to talk about the Great Awakening.
Okay, so yeah, we can talk about Whitefield and how that played right into the revolution.
I think there's a movie out, isn't
You
there?
know,
The Great Awakening?
yeah, there is, by Angel Studios.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it. I heard that it's really, really good. I have heard that. In fact, you know who told me it was really good? Matt.
I was going to say, Matt.
He said it was excellent. So I'll have to watch it, but I'll wait till it's on either Netflix or on Prime, one or the other, and it doesn't cost me anything. All right, we'll take a break. It's the Dave Ellswick Show. Stay with us. We got another segment to come. It's the news dump going on right now. We got another piece of news to dump on you when we get back. Today is the second day of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, And according to the Wall Street Journal, they labeled it a, quote, risky new showdown. Stars and Stripes, which is kind of a paper that you read if you're in the military. You might read the Air Force Times or the Army Times or whatever as well. But the strategy involves strangling the Iranian economy by keeping ships from entering or exiting the country's ports while eliminating Tehran's chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz. That, according to retired Admiral James Stavridis, and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. He said that in an interview on Sunday on CNN. The effort will take at least 2 Navy aircraft carriers, more than a dozen destroyers and other military assets, and the help of regional Arab navies. The Allied commander, former Allied commander, told CNN, quote, the Navy already has a dual carrier presence and 16 destroyers stationed in the region, along with other vessels and a contingent of Marines. The U.S. wager could pay off, he said. The Wall Street Journal went on and said more than 15 U.S. warships are now in place to support the operation, according to a senior official. An advisory to mariners from the UK, Maritime Trade Operations, which is affiliated with Britain's Royal Navy, said maritime access restrictions were being enforced for Iranian ports and coastal areas along the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and parts of the Arabian Sea. As the blockade unfolded, President Trump said any fast attack ships from Iran would be targeted using the same system of kills that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. Speaking to the press later, Trump said that the right people in Iran still want to make a deal and that Iran wouldn't have a nuclear weapon. Iran earlier said no port in the Persian Gulf or its ports are threatened. At least that's what they said. All right. You know that these guys, when you write the definition of lie, the picture of their country is right next to it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They lie and they lie convincingly at times. And for 47 years, they've used their lies to keep themselves in power.
Yeah, they've managed to keep their people, lie to their people, and make them submit for so long. That's just crazy to me.
Of course, they submit because they kill them if they catch them. I mean,
right.
If you were living over their valley, you'd be one of those people wearing a French beret and all black, so they couldn't see it and running around. You'd be one of the resistance, kind of people over there. You would not be a Vichy French at all. Okay, if you didn't understand anything I just said, go read your history books so that you'll know what I'm talking about there. All right, we're going to get news coming up in 30 seconds here, and let the Salem Radio News Network bring you up to date on it. By the way, if you go to srn.com, you can find the Salem Radio Network on television, just like you find my show on our vision of television on the internet as well. So take in all of the talk show hosts there at the wonderful world of Salem Radio. All right, I got to get a break. Let's do that. It's a minute before news. It's coming up next. Following that, we're going to talk about the Great Awakening. 8 o'clock here on the Dave Ellswick Show. Good to have you along for the ride today. We're going to have Dr. Douglas Small on. We're going to talk about the Great Awakening, the Reformation that occurred here in the United States, and talk about pastors like Whitefield and others. Pastor Small, quick question. Was Finney part of the first awakening or the second?
Finney actually came later, following the second awakening is camp meeting seasons, beginning at Cane Ridge around 1800, 1801. And Finney would come a couple of decades later. And Finney's, of course, credited with the altar call and modern evangelism techniques that you see reflected in Billy Graham's ministry and others.
Yeah, he was some kind of preacher. They said that you'd go to one of his services and you could feel the tent tremble when he was speaking.
Yeah, there's reports of him walking into industrial places where people are at the spinning wheels and so forth, and the presence of the Lord coming and just weeping, people weeping. And this really came out of an intense struggle himself. He was not a Christian. He actually became a Christian by reading Blackstone's commentaries on the law.
Yeah, but
Blackstone was so deeply entrenched in common law, English law, which had its roots in Judeo-Christian values. That's how he became a Christian.
Yeah, he's quite the guy. I've read several books about Finney, but I've read several books about Whitefield too. And Whitefield was also another great preacher. And I don't think that he's given enough credit for his play in the American Revolution.
No. Whitefield made 7 trips here, Boston to Savannah. Probably 20% of the colonialists heard him. It wasn't Washington or Franklin or Jefferson. Those weren't the names that the people knew. It was Whitefield. He really galvanized the colonies and made us one. He helped us transcend the denominational sectarianism that had paralyzed the colonies and made them go to war with one another. You get somebody to run out of this colony because they weren't Anglican enough, and run out of this colony because they were too Baptist, and so forth. And each colony had its own religious flavor to its fault. And Whitefield would say, very tongue in cheek, of Father Abraham, do you have any Anglicans up there? No. Do you have any Episcopalians? No. Well, Father Abraham, who is in heaven then? Well, we only have Christians up here. And he would say to the crowd, right. Well, then let us be Christians. Let us be Christians. Great.
I mean, he was the clergy played a vital role in the our fight for freedom, for thoughts that Washington had about freedom and things of that nature. I don't think a lot of people realize how much religion played a part in American history.
No, Edwards, earlier, the first visit of Whitefield was 3940. And Edwards had seen a stirring, Jonathan Edwards, in his community, and it had broken out in places in New England. And that began to wake up a very cold church. What we don't realize is that the halfway covenant from the late 1600s into the 1700s had basically given up on adults. They were not living a Christian life. They were not worthy of communion. Their lives were haphazard at best. And so the halfway covenant says, well, why don't you stay in church, but don't take communion because you're not worthy of taking communion, but let's keep your children in church.
Uh-huh.
And so we were barely hanging on. The people that were coming to America weren't the Pilgrim types or the Puritan types. They were coming for graft. They were coming for greed. Their plan was to go back to England. After the Revolutionary War, 20% of them did go back to England. So there was a malaise. One report said half of all girls during that age were already pregnant when they were married. We were in a very, very difficult spiritual place, and there began to be this stirring, and then Whitefield came, and that began to embolden clergy to begin to preach the truth again. And out of that, you get the Black Robe Regiment, which was the British they called it the Third Column or the Third Army. And that's the one they felt like defeated them.
Yeah, I mean,
preachers.
It's amazing what isn't taught in our schools today. I mean, what's taught in our schools is that religion has no place in the marketplace of ideas. But here's a perfect example of religion, was moving the thought, the ideas of the day forward, and bringing people out of being under kings and being under God, and then getting somebody that they made a king that was supposed to be kind of the middleman between God and the people.
Yeah, a lot of us forget that the French Revolution was brewing and then burst into the open in 1789. At the same time, we were putting together our Constitution. And a couple of the founders had been in France as ambassadors or in other means. They saw what happened to a culture that was built on humanism, on reason. They saw that culture absolutely implode, and they didn't want that. And so they pushed that model away, the very model that's being pushed on us now, that humanism, that our own good morals can be the center. That center can't hold. And so they knew they needed to anchor it to something more firmly. They didn't want a theocracy, but they wanted something that was close, something that referenced values that were transcendent, that were beyond us. And they settled on Judeo-Christian principles.
Well, of course, Adams is quoted as saying that the Constitution could only be, worked on, and it was whole, if the people weren't moral, and boy, we're seeing that in spades now.
Absolutely, we're in a crisis, and we have to remember what was happening in the Obama years, what was happening in the Biden years. There was a celebration plan for this year that was an in-your-face celebration of immorality, and Kamala made it very, very clear that there would be no exceptions under her administration for abortions in hospitals. Catholic hospitals would have to do it, and everything else. Churches would have to comply to this new leftist intersectionality agenda and all the other pronoun stuff. We were really on the edge of being caught in the screws of something very horrific. And while we can't always celebrate the belligerence of our current president, we wish he would have a real encounter with a God and that would humble him down a bit. I mean, this is my opinion. I hope you don't cut me off for that. But I mean, all of us wish that, but at the same time, he's given us a moment that we dare not miss. If we miss this moment and we don't see a great awakening, his reforms will be like Josiah's reforms. They'll be dead the day he leaves office. We have to have a great awakening. We have to have a heart reset. We have to have a moral reset for the nation. And that only comes with a great spiritual awakening where individual people have an encounter with Christ and they become Christ-centered and begin to live out the implications of his life.
All right, so have we seen the start of this? I talk to people all the time about this, and they believe that it started because they talk about what went on, what's going on at Asbury and Lexington and things of that nature. Do you believe it's here, or do you think it's here if the people want to really get involved in it?
Well, there's some interesting follow-up studies to Asbury and while I really revere what happened there, I didn't make the trip, but I have many, many people who went, and I watched it closely. There are follow-up studies that say that the kids who went through it say it was just a phase in my life. It was a wonderful thing, but it didn't change my life. That's the concern. The concern is that we have a spiritual buzz of some kind that really doesn't profoundly change our lives and the way we live and make us give us more integrity towards our lives. So I would hesitate to say it's begun. I think there are hopeful signs. The college campuses, the uptick in Gen Zs that are going back to church, the Gen Zs and young millennials that are showing up in churches saying, I need some of what's happening here, but I've never been in a church before. Tell me, where do I go and what do I do? That's encouraging, but it isn't flashpoints of revival that we need. It is a groundswell in every county, in every state across the nation. It's something that kind of saturates us from border to border and coast to coast that's needed. And that means every believer has to get involved. Every believer has to break their silence. Only 2 to 8% of us share our faith. And yet right now, 80% of this young culture says, given the right invitation for the right person that I thought was authentic, I'd go to church with them. There's an extraordinary openness and a continued silence on our part. We have to break that silence.
All right, so we're sitting right now where America was sitting back then. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you.
In a sense, it took a great awakening to give us birth. There's no doubt. Without that great awakening, we would not have the America that we have now. There's no doubt about it. Now it's going to take a great awakening to save us.
That's wild. Stay with me. I got to get a break in. Dr. Douglas Small is with us right now. I'll have him talk about his organization in a minute. Don't go anywhere. Really important things to come here on the Dave Ellswick Show. If you just joined us, Dr. Douglas Small is with us. He is with the group Prayer at the Heart. And what their group is trying to do is, if you're a Jesus follower, that you follow his commands. And one of the first commands that he gives to all of us is to share the good news, and that we should be praying for our fellow believers and praying for the people who don't believe, and that they come to an understanding of who Jesus Christ was. 1 million people to make a first or recommitment to Jesus Christ in 2026. Let me read their mission statement for you. It says, to ignite a great spiritual awakening out of a national movement of unified, humble, desperate prayer, unity, and evangelism. Man, I couldn't write a better mission statement if I tried. I mean, how is this working thus far? How have people reacted to this, Doctor?
Well, we started with a gathering in the middle of the nation 5 years ago. 3,000 people from 50 states, representing 50 states, gathered to repent. We didn't want to go to Washington. We wanted to go only to a place for the eyes of God. So we went to literally the geographic center of the nation, borrowed a cow pasture, put up a tent, and for 6 hours we cried out to God. Now, CBN had a correspondent assigned. CTN was there. There's a satellite dish. Daystar supported it.
Right.
Integrity TV covered it live with a production truck. So when they said about 1 million people watched that, before coming, one group circled the nation and prayed. 8 other groups came from north, south, east, and west in the 4 corners and stopped along the way, driving stakes, reconsecrating the nation to God, conducting 350 prayer rallies before we got there. Then the goal was to go to every state and do the same thing. Circle the state, go to the center of the state. Outside groups, 5,000 gathered in Texas. We saw 20 other states do something like this. Outside, humble, unified gatherings. And then we felt like we needed to put a goal on the prayer. The Lord really spoke to us that the ultimate end of prayer is not prayer. That's not our goal. The goal is evangelism. The goal is mission. The goal is to see people come to Christ. Right now, we're seeing less than 500,000 people, a little less than 500,000 people come to Christ with the efforts of all denominations for an entire year. That's not even keeping us up. It's just a fraction of our net population gain. We're losing track. We don't need 1 million. We need 35 billion. We need a tithe of the nation. We need enough to create a sociological tipping point back to biblical values, but that's too many to process. So 1 million whose hearts were changed would reach 2, and they'd reach 4, and they'd reach 8, until we really had an exponential growth. And so that was the goal that we feel like the Lord gave us. Let's get 1 million people to just begin to pray for a friend, a loved one, a family member, someone who works around them, that they might know God. So we say, pray for 10, express care to 5, look for an opportunity to share Christ with 3, with the hope that 1 will go to church with you on Pentecost Sunday and become a follower of Jesus Christ.
All right, now Pentecost Sunday is just around the corner. I mean, that's, 50 days after Passover?
5 weeks away.
Okay. This makes sense. I get excited when I hear this type of thing. You're making the call. Are you getting answers in return?
Well, there are about 25 denominations or organizations that have expressed partnership with us, and some are setting their own goals. Southern Baptist, for example, they've declared by themselves they're going to win 1 million by the end of the year, and the Bless Every Home folks associated with a major ministry have declared we're going to win our 1 million. So there's a number of people that God has really put this on their heart. I mean, you ask, has the Great Awakening already begun, or is this something we need to help along? I think God is really showing that He wants to do something more glorious than any of us have seen in our lifetime in America. But we have to partner with Him. We have to come along. We have to help in that process. And we believe that if 1 million people and 25,000 churches or so would get involved, lay names on the altar, begin to pray for their neighbors by name, begin to pray for loved ones by name, that God would do what He wants to do through us and win those people to Christ.
Yeah, as I listen to you, and I'm listening to your vision that God's laid on your heart and that you're laying on the heart of the church. Uh, it's exciting. It really is exciting, because the last, I think, great awakening we had in this nation was probably the Jesus movement, uh, which came up during the time that I was in high school originally, and it made some big differences. But a lot of the people that went through that movement have lost a lot of their fervor.
Yeah, so about every 50 to 70 years, we see a wave. So we're overdue now for a move of God that would reset us, that would pull us back, and desperately overdue for one right now. And I believe it's in the heart of God to do it. You know, Dave, if you look at the miracles of the Old Testament, they're not evenly spread. They cluster in three places. They cluster when Israel's in Egypt. They cluster in the time of Elijah and Elisha, when the nation had adopted Baalism, its religion, and they clustered during the time of the exile, when the nation's lights had gone out and they've been exiled. These are the three most desperate periods in Israel's history, and in every one of those periods, God acted in behalf of his own purposes. He looked for a man or a handful of people, and he acted in behalf of his own purposes. I think God wants to save America, not to keep Disneyland open. It's the best platform that exists to help finish the Great Commission, to reach the last 3 billion people who have yet to hear the gospel. God has bigger purposes than we realize. He wants the whole world is here. 500 languages, 50 million legal immigrants, 21 million who fit the profile of an unreached people group, and they live here. If a spiritual awakening came here, it would set off a cosmic spiritual explosion, perhaps like we've not seen since Acts 2.
Amazing. I got to say thank you for joining me today. You give me some hope when I listen to you, because, I know the church that I'm going. My grandfather was a Baptist minister, and he used to say, you'll know the spiritual health of a church if the baptismal waters are being stirred. And they're being stirred at the place that I'm going right now. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about it. And I'm seeing places across the United States that the exact same thing is happening.
Yes. Thank you, Dave.
You have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Right. Again, Dr. Douglas Small. What was you got their website up on my stream right now? What's the address for that, Val? Is it prayerattheheart.com?
Yes, I'm sorry. Prayerattheheart.org.
.org. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
O-R-G. If you're a believer, all right, I'll ask you to go check this out today and see if it doesn't speak to you, and that, we should be doing more to get the truth out, because I believe that the world is hungry for a true revival and for a meeting Christ face to face. All right, we got to get to the news. Let's do that. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the other news that's going on. All right, that was an interesting segment. Excuse me. With Dr. Small, I was really interesting what he's trying to do, and it sounds like it's gaining momentum. And again, if you just go to his website, you can see exactly how it all works out. Excuse me. I go through moments. I'm hoping that it rains tonight.
Oh, allergies, yeah.
And it would clean out the air a little bit and make it a little easier for all of us to breathe. Interesting story going on down in Texas. I don't know if you saw this story today or not yet, Val. The Democratic congressional candidate and Latin music star Bobby Pulido is being criticized for a joke he made about a longtime bandmate exposed as a child predator. This came out in a concert that Pulido did back in 2018. Pulido is a two-time Latin Grammy Award-winning singer who is the Democratic nominee in Texas's 15th congressional district and is facing scrutiny over bandmate Frankie Caballero, who is a registered sex offender convicted of indecent exposure and contact with an 8-year-old little girl. Pulido has said he was not aware of the bandmate's conviction and that he cut ties with him as soon as he learned. However, Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz, Republican of Texas, who Pulido is attempting to unseat, called out the musician turned political for the joke which he made back at a 2018 concert, claiming everyone knows he knew. Fox News reviewed YouTube video of that concert, which took place in November of 2018, when Pulido referred to Caballero as a, quote, bad man. He quipped that though Caballero was born in South Bend, Indiana, he did not attend Notre Dame, but went to Penn State, which prompted Caballero to take a step back and Pulido to laugh, saying, quote, no, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. A spokesperson for Pulido has pushed back on De La Cruz's comments, accusing the Congresswoman of telling lies and saying that, and I quote here, Bobby Pulido had no knowledge of Caballero's sex offender registration and would never knowingly associate with anyone with such a history. In an interview with Fox News, De La Cruz asserted that, quote, the question isn't whether Bobby Pulido knew what his close friend did to these children. Everyone knows he knew. The question is why Bobby Pulido spent decades bringing a pedophile around to our families.
Ugh.
The answer is he doesn't care because he is a celebrity who barely even lives in this country. As a singer and actor, Pulido has spent much of his career splitting his time between Mexico and South Texas, which is not hardly leaving Mexico at all. This is someone who was already facing child sex abuse charges when Mr. Pulido personally recruited him and built his entire career around him, she said. Then he goes on to molest an 8-year-old girl from our community and goes to prison. Once again, Mr. Pulido hires him, she said. He starts bringing this pedophile into our parks, into our festivals, and my opponent is even on tape joking about this man's crimes. De La Cruz emphasized, quote, my heart breaks up for the families whose children were victimized by the predator that Bobby Pulido brought into our neighborhoods for decades, knowing full well what he had done. I'm raising my own kids in South Texas, and I want every family that Bobby Polito put in danger to know I'm here for you, close quote. In response, the spokesperson for Polito's campaign pushed back, telling Fox News Monica and her machine of lies are at it again, telling lies because they don't want you to know the truth, unquote. Bobby Polito had no knowledge of Caballero's sex offender registration and would never knowingly associate with anyone with such a history, the spokesperson added. The spokesperson went on to say that Bobby and his supporters will not be lectured by Monica de la Cruz, who is the only candidate in this race who has been accused of child abuse under oath in a court of law and even had a restraining order issued against her to protect the child. Man, and we thought, the Secretary of State race was dirty.
Right.
Whoa. During divorce proceedings in 2021, De La Cruz was accused by her ex-husband of pinching her then stepdaughter and of being verbally abusive. A temporary restraining order was granted and no further charges were pursued, and the order has been eventually dissolved. De La Cruz has denied the accusations as false. Meanwhile, a former Democratic prosecutor in Hidalgo County, Texas, told Fox News that they have, quote, thoroughly reviewed this case, unquote, and concluded that Mr. Polito has no plausible deniability.
That's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
The prosecutor said that Polito's Penn State comment can only be inferred as either a child sex abuse joke or a reference to the fact that his friend spent 4 years in the state pen. Both are devastating to Mr. Polito's defense. Caballero was first arrested for child sex abuse charges back in 92, though he was hit with a $75,000 bond, according to the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office website. The deposition of that case is unclear. Polito's first collaborated with Caballero in 95, 3 years after the 92 arrest, and Caballero is credited on at least 4 of Polito's studio albums in 95, 96, 97, and 99. In May 2014, Caballero was convicted of a second-degree felony involving indecent contact with an 8-year-old female and was incarcerated, according to the Texas Public Sex Offender website, and he was incarcerated from 2014 to 2016. Following his conviction and prison sentence, he toured again with Polito between 2018 and 2021, with the two seen performing together in several cities, including Kansas City, Las Vegas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Tucson, Arizona, per video shared on YouTube. Between 20 and 2021, Caballero was charged with indecency by sexual contact with a child, attempted aggravated sexual assault of a child, unlawful restraint of a child under 17, though those charges have been dismissed, according to Hidalgo County, Texas jail records. He was also charged with assault of a family member by impeding breathing and circulation, which resulted in him being released to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. He was also hit with failure to comply with sex offender registration in 2020 and 21. In a prior statement to Fox News, Polito's campaign manager, Abel Prado, said, "First and foremost, Bobby extends his deepest sympathies and support to all of the victims involved. Frankie Cabrero has long struggled with addiction issues, and Bobby Polito has acknowledged and attempted to help him with that battle. When Jimmy Montez management learned of Calabero's criminal history in 2021, he was immediately fired and that relationship was severed. Bobby was never made aware of Caballero's sex offender registration and would never knowingly associate with anyone with that kind of history. Interesting.
Yeah, and they played at little girls' birthday parties, their little coming out parties or whatever, too. And here's the thing. I'm sorry. I don't buy that he didn't know. You know why? Because my kids are in the music business. Anytime there's somebody that's been accused of anything of that nature, everybody knows it. And everybody shuns them. Like, everybody knows it. You abuse your girlfriend, everybody knows it, and you're done. I don't believe that he didn't know.
Well, that's what that judge said. He said he uses a couple of excuses that he didn't know. And the bottom line is it's very obvious he had to know because it was so well known that
everyone else knows. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I guarantee you they lost shows because of it too, because that happens. People don't want to support that crap. That's ridiculous if you do.
Here was one of the responses to the story. Ever look at these politicians and ask yourself if any of them have an ounce of moral fortitude? I swear. It seems these days that none of them have, the moral backbone to stand up against people that are pedophiles. If everyone knew, is what another one said, question mark. And I'm with you. That's a small, insular group of people. And if something like this comes out, it's like wildfire out there.
Because everybody knows everybody. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it spreads always. I mean, this guy, Caballero, lost, his representation by an agency and everything. That definitely would have been known that had happened. So, yeah, as the old saying goes, I think that Polito, complains too much, taking us to Shakespeare. When people start complaining like this stuff really is happening. All right, I got to take a break. Let's take the break. When we come back, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame named the people that are being inducted in November of this year. The concert was going to be held in Southern California, and the concert will be on Disney. They're going to stream it. Usually it's HBO, but they must have lost the rights to it. So I'll tell you who's won. There's some names that you probably will say, I thought they already were in the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about it when we get back here on the Dave Ellswick Show. All right, back with you here on the Dave Ellswick Show. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced their 2026 inductees early this morning. And here's the names that are going in. Oasis, the Wu-Tang Clan, Phil Collins as a solo act, not as part of Genesis, Sade, Iron Maiden, About Time for Iron Maiden, Billy Idol, who should have gone in a long time ago, Joy Division / New Order, and Luther Vandross. Those are your new.
I can't believe Billy Idol
people.
wasn't in there.
Yeah, you thought you
the
would.
Midnight Owl.
Yeah, he's been around. White Wedding, the whole 9 yards.
Do you remember Adam Ant?
Oh yeah.
I loved Adam Ant.
Yeah, he was great.
And Billy Idol. Those were those were the best videos
when he was
on MTV.
When Adam Ant was singing about ant people. Remember that song?
Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do?
Yeah, he's good. He had a lot of good. That was stuff coming up during the punk era.
Yep.
Billy Idol, if he had not had that motorcycle accident, would have definitely, I think, been in earlier. I hear he still puts on a good show. He's still touring,
and he makes cameos and everything.
He's still touring now. For a while, they didn't think he was ever going to be able to walk again.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
And he really, really got screwed up. Of course, he would tell you that a lot of it had to do with the lifestyle he was partaking of at that time. He's gotten that cleared up now. So bottom line, coming up on November 14th, 2026 in Los Angeles at the Peacock Theater, they'll have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions ceremony. I don't see who's doing the inductee stuff. I mean, it's cool. It's like when they brought in. Let me think for a moment. Ray Davies of the Kinks.
Nice.
Do you remember who did the induction for him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was Metallica.
Oh shoot!
Because Metallica loved Ray Davies. People who are in the business love Ray Davies. The Kinks never were as big as a lot of the other British invasion groups of the time, but I'll tell you, be honest with you, they were way ahead of everybody else in what they were playing at the time. Their most famous song is "I Really Got You." That was their first song, and then the other song that lives in infamy is, "I'm an Ape Man." Do you remember that song?
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah. I'm an ape man. I'm an ape man. It's a great song that they did. A lot of social commentary in their music, the Kinks. So the folks from Metallica wanted to induct them. They did, and then they had one of their heroes come up and perform with them that induction ceremony, and that's when Ozzy came and sang with Metallica. Talk about a great concert that was. It was amazing when that happened. Although the one performance that stands out in my mind from one of those induction ceremonies is when Fergie came out, and I'm trying to think who she sang with. It wasn't Mick Jagger. It was someone of that ilk, and they did "Give Me Shelter," and Fergie just wailed it. I mean, she hit it out of the ballpark. It was really, really impressive to hear her perform and perform that way. Of course, she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Black Eyed Peas as well.
Love the Black Eyed
Peas. She moved on. Black Eyed Peas have moved on too. They just kind of fractured and fell apart after they got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kind of interesting what happened with them. But I want to see. I'm I'll turn it on to watch Dickinson, lead singer for
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. You know, he's an interesting cat. He flies their plane. You know, I think he got a 747 that they travel on when they're touring, and he's got a pilot's license to be able to fly that kind of a plane, and he flies them to where they're going. It's pretty crazy, you know, as far as,
Cool.
that's concerned. He's his own kind of guy is what he is. He is definitely that. Iron Maiden still tours, and they still play sold out arenas
festivals too.
when they play. I mean, people turn out to hear them. They were, you know, Bruce and the crew. They can play. I saw them in San Antonio. Interviewed Bruce and interviewed the opening act, Ted Nugent, as well, and it was a crazy night, to say the least.
I bet. Ted Nugent.
I mean, it was real. He's nuts. All right,
He is nuts.
And, you know, Ted hasn't touched any drugs or anything like that.
Some people don't need them. They're just crazy.
But Ted, you know, I'll just tell you right now that not the most moral guy I know.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
Listen to Cat Scratch Fever.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people don't realize that that's
what's it about.
You know, that's about a sexually transmitted disease.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't know that that's what it was all about. But anyway, and it's kind of interesting. It's always good to see that, you know, people get their just desserts. I think that, you know, Billy Idol, you know,
well deserved.
He really needs to be in. There's no doubt about that.
Very well deserved.
When he was hot, he was like.
I still listen to him.
He was hot as the sun. You know what I'm saying?
I still listen to Billy Idol.
Yeah. You remember he did a quick cameo in The Doors. That Val Kilmer played Morrison. He was a record exec, and he was the guy that was standing next to Morrison and talking to him, and he had his cane and he was walking so he could walk on the
after
set.
the accident.
Yeah, and it was, yeah. There's no telling how far he would have gone if he hadn't have been in that wreck. It's just like Billy, you know, like not Billy, but Eddie Money. Eddie Money was a tremendous rock and roll artist. He's in the Hall of Fame, and you know, he passed out from using drugs in the bathtub with his leg hanging out, cut off the blood circulation, and that's why he walked with such a limp in the last parts of his career.
Yep.
So anyway,
some of them made it, some of them didn't, like Sid Vicious.
Oh, yeah, feel sorry, but Sid Vicious had he had so many inner demons, incredible.
And then Nancy.
Oh yeah, well, she wasn't the best role model.
No.
For Sid, she wanted the drugs, and so he'd go out and get him, and then they would both do them.
He was
together.
so talented.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back after the news, and then we'll continue on with the Dave Ellswick Show. All right, let's move on to the 9 o'clock hour of a Tuesday show here on the Dave Ellswick Show. So let me try to get this straight and make sure I got this right. There's some states I go to that I go to the grocery store and I buy a pound of sliced ham in a plastic bag. I get a loaf of bread in a plastic bag. I get a gallon of milk in a plastic jug, a pack of napkins in plastic wrap, a store-made salad in a plastic tub, a plastic bottle of mustard and ketchup, but they won't give me a plastic bag to carry it home because the plastic bag is bad for the environment.
Oh, I know in some places like DC, you have to pay like 5 cents for a bag.
A lot of people don't even think
At
about
Walgreens.
that. You know, you got all this plastic coming your way, no matter what. Just something that you get. You got to get used to it. Just exactly how it is. All right, let me get back to the news. Been talking about the news here. At 10 o'clock, by the way, Clint Lancaster is going to be on. We'll get the latest on what's going on in Secretary of State election. Did you see this big chaotic teen takeover that had all kinds of gunfire as the city was scrambling to take over the downtown area? I mean, this was in Detroit. This looked like the riots back in Detroit back in the day that happened. A chaotic teen takeover in downtown Detroit unfolded Saturday, just a day after city leaders and youth organizers publicly called for safer spaces for teens, highlighting growing concerns about a nationwide trend of youth mayhem. Videos circulating on social media show dozens of teens flooding the downtown streets with crowds running through the area and prompting a police response. Authorities told Fox 2 in Detroit that a gun was fired during the chaos, though no injuries were reported. Now, they had a shooting at a Chick-fil-A. I forget where it was at.
Yeah.
They killed one person, wounded 6 at that. Police also detained multiple teens as they worked to regain control, with some individuals placed on buses due to the situation. The mob scene was reportedly organized on social media, part of a growing trend known as how this really gets you. This is original teen takeovers. That's what it's under, where groups of young people coordinate meetups in public spaces. Would seem to me the police should be well aware of these if they're doing them on social media. Similar incidents have been reported in cities including Atlanta, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., raising concerns among law enforcement and city leaders about safety and supervision.
Like, where are these parents at? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question.
These are 12 to 17-year-old kids.
As cities grapple with how to respond to these gatherings, community groups have offered a different perspective. Okay, I want you to listen to what the adults are saying.
No, these are the adults. Huh?
Ceasefire Detroit has previously urged calm around similar gatherings, emphasizing that most teens are not involved in any violence. In a past statement about teen takeovers, the group said that while large crowds may appear chaotic, only a few individuals are typically responsible for the disruptions. Quote, from the sidewalk, it looked like chaos, but it was only about 40 kids actually causing trouble. 40 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The group said, adding that most of these kids aren't out there to do wrong. They're out there trying to be seen. Okay.
They're spoiled, you mean?
Yes.
And nobody's watching them at home.
Yeah. Ceasefire Detroit has also stressed that prevention efforts should focus on engagement, saying safety isn't just about patrols, it's about connection. Okay. Still, the events in Detroit have raised concerns about how quickly these gatherings can escalate. Look, this has been going on for a long time. Flash mobs have been around for a while. The incident came one day after Detroit Mayor Mary Sheffield stood alongside teen organizers during a Friday news conference, emphasizing the need for more spaces where young people can gather safely. Quote, last week we all saw what has
Base
been
44
called
super agents. The
team
next thing you can't live
takeover
without.
happened not only in Detroit but around the nation. What's happening here in our city is somewhat different, something powerful, unquote. She said many teams are simply looking for places where they feel welcome. They want to be part of a city and a place downtown
I'm showing the video.
where they feel welcome. Yeah, you can look at those cars, the way they're driving them and stuff. Sheffield said, adding that enforcement alone is not the answer. Teen organizers echoed that message, saying the goal was not to cause harm. Okay. My intentions wasn't bad. I just wanted to get out of the house, have fun, one teen said. I just want to see somewhere safe for everybody. How
are the streets safe for everybody in Detroit?
Is amazing.
Of all places, Detroit.
Another team, where's RoboCop?
Right.
I mean, come on. Another team acknowledged concerns about how the gatherings can escalate. The vandalism and the violence was harmful and very unacceptable, the team said. These actions put people at risk and they create an unsafe environment. City leaders say they are working to expand youth programming, extend recreation center hours, and create designated spaces for teens, particularly as summer approaches. But the rapid escalation of Saturday's gathering underscores the challenge cities face as these events can quickly grow and spiral out of control. I just wonder, if you got a kid that's under 18 and they're running wild in the streets and they get brought down by the police, one thing is that the kid doesn't get out of the hoosegow until the parents show up. And number two, you want to know from the parent what they intend to do with their kid.
Yeah. What are they doing with these kids? That's what I want to know.
You find out a lot of them are.
They needed jobs, but they needed to be able to go to work
at
at 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
If you have a job, you're not doing this stupid stuff.
Give them a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Do their thing. Anyway, that's what I was doing. I was trying to make some scratch when I was.
Oh, I babysat at night and I worked at Dairy Queen and then Steak and Shake. And yeah, I worked from the time I was 14. Well, 12, babysitting.
Go do your thing. 13, I started cleaning the apartment complex that my parents lived in. Happened to know the girl from junior high who owned it and told her, ask your dad if you need somebody to clean the hallways and behind the dryer, get the lint out and all that kind of stuff.
Kids just don't do that kind of stuff.
They did. They paid. They pay me pretty good. I was making $8 an hour. That was pretty good.
That's pretty damn good.
Just to clean up the hallway and stuff. Heck yeah, it's no problem. We do that.
What happened to curfew, Dave?
Oh, that's just we're mistreating the kids.
What happened to curfew? When I was in high school, we had curfew.
What time?
Well, it was 10 during the week and 11 during the weekends.
Yeah, we were 10 during the week and midnight, unless you were coming or going to work.
Yeah, work.
That was a different.
Or with your
thing.
parent.
And you needed a letter from your employer.
I don't even think we have I don't even think we have a one here in the city anymore. Because I know when
who needs a curfew? Frank Scott needs a curfew.
Yeah.
He's the one that needs a curfew. That way he'd stay out of some of the clubs that he goes to. But anyway, Yeah, he wouldn't have to have somebody driving him to the clubs.
Yes. So 14 hours ago. Oh, look here. So 14 hours ago, City of Little Rock seeks citywide curfew for youth starting April 17th. What happened to their curfew? Like, why would you lift a curfew for kids? Nobody needs to be out that late.
What does it say for who's trying to put this in place?
So, in an effort to address crime in the state capital, Little Rock Mayor Frank Scott is proposing that the Little Rock City Board of Directors launch a special citywide weekend curfew for youth under the age of 18. Slated to go in effect Friday, April 17th, the request comes after a shooting that occurred in the River Market last Saturday on April 12th that left one injured. It's unfortunate but necessary for us to implement this curfew as we take additional steps to protect our residents, guests, and merchants, Scott said. We are making significant progress in reducing crime and changing the perception of crime in Little Rock. We strongly encourage parents and guardians to make sure our young people enjoy their weekends safely and that they abide by this curfew. So if passed by way of vote and special called meeting of the Little Rock Board of Directors, the curfew would be 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays until September 6th, 2026. Why not make it permanent?
They have anything,
like, it doesn't make any sense.
Have anything in there about, if you're going to work?
Yes, they will apply to those under the age of 18 unless they are with their parents, guardians, possess a work permit, or are leaving an activity or event sponsored by the city. The curfew will be strictly enforced by Little Rock Police Department, according to a release. Youth in Little Rock are encouraged to get involved in activities and entertainment provided by organizations, churches, and businesses while abiding by a set curfew.
Okay.
Like, why did it go away? And why are you lifting it September 6th?
That's a good question. When did they get rid of it? And why?
Right. Like, doesn't make any sense. Oh, so it's only from April to September. Doesn't make no sense at all.
It's going to be, it's coming in this weekend. So it's after everybody got back from Easter break or spring break. And then will be in effect until you go back to school after the summer is over.
But people still get in trouble during school because a lot of people don't go to school.
No, I don't disagree. So they're already
these criminal kids don't go to school. Do we have truancy laws anymore? Probably not.
Yeah, they probably do, but judges got better things to deal with.
Yeah, shame.
Although they should have, they used to have. I did when I was a kid, truancy court.
Yeah, I remember that.
They had judges that just saw the kids, and usually what it meant is if you were caught not going to school, they would put you to work on the weekends picking trash up. And normally during that time, you had to wear some kind of a pullover T-shirt that said that you were out causing trouble, and that's why you were out now picking up trash. A little bit of shame to go along with what it was that you were supposed to have done. All right, let's take a break. I don't know why did we take shame away from that kind of stuff?
Yeah, because
shame plays
everybody's not
plays a big part in this kind of stuff. All right, although I'm sure some kids would say it's my badge of honor. Look at that, man! I got caught. 9:19. It's a break, and then we're back, and we'll continue here on the Dave Ellswick Show. All right, so England is supposed to be one of our truest allies. I mean, we got the bust of Churchill in the Oval Office and all the rest. And we've been friends with England for a long time. We worked hand in glove with them during World War II and during other military situations. But now we get another snub from the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Made an announcement on Monday. He clarified as well that UK is refusing to join the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Went on to say that the strait needs to be opened. Apparently, he just wants others to do all the dirty work for it. That, according to the Washington Times, in an interview that he had on the BBC, Mr. Starmer stressed that reopening the Strait of Hormuz remains a high priority for his government and that the UK is committing significant resources to finding a peaceful solution. You know, usually this is how you go, well, Mel, yeah, because it is definite BS that we're hearing here. It is, in my view, vital that we get the strait open and fully open, and that's where we'll put all of our efforts in the last few weeks, and we'll continue to do so. Mr. Starmer insisted that he would not commit British vessels to a blockade that he said did not have a lawful basis or a clear, thought-out plan. Now, wait a second. Iran has, for the last 47 years, attacked the free world, killing people in Spain, killing people in Britain, killing people in the United States, killing people with their proxies of groups of troops wherever they're stationed at, and on and on. So he's saying that he's not going to commit British vessels to a blockade that he said did not have a lawful basis. Yes, it has a lawful basis. That's another BS statement. Starmer did note that the UK has minesweepers in the region, but again, threw up a smokescreen on whether and when they'd be put to work for the cause. Breitbart posted Starmer all but confirmed the UK would take a part in this, but typically was short on details, either on timeline or appetite for risk. The United States needs mine countermeasures support now, but so far European powers have determined that from the idea of any deployment, while a shocking war remains on, severely reducing how useful they're willing to be. Sir Keir told the BBC, what we've been doing over the past few weeks is bringing countries together to keep the straits open. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I think that you're lying. Not shut. We're not supporting the blockade. And this is a quote, and all of the marshaling, diplomatically, politically, and capability, we do have minesweeping capability. That's all focused from our point of view on getting the streets fully open. Is Starmer, the father of the former vice president? I mean, he's talking out of every side of his mouth. We want to get energy prices down as quickly as possible. He's quoted as saying to Breitbart. What a lion's sack of you know what. Mm-hmm. They're saying that he's going to lose the next election. as prime minister wouldn't surprise me, because the people are tired of the Muslim influx.
He doesn't take a stance.
That he doesn't.
You know, they started a new
stops.
Saturday Night Live in the UK, but it's London now. There's 3 episodes in, which I watched it, and it's not very funny. I find it.
Well, it's the British, number one.
Well, but I love Monty Python.
Yeah.
You know, I thought,
that's true. Cleese and those guys were good.
Yeah, but it's really stupid. It's more about the United States than it is.
Of course.
And it's just like more about things we do. How about you mock the things that you people do?
Yeah. Like arresting people for praying out in public.
Yeah, or not having weapons.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah, they should.
But they can't do that because can't they get in trouble?
Yeah, probably.
See. So how are you going to do that? So they mock the United States.
You go and you go ahead and go out. You could do a skit of a police officer turning up at an apartment building and arresting a guy in an apartment because he pulled a gun on a person who was robbing his apartment.
Right, because he had a gun.
Yeah, and so we'll arrest him because you have a gun. They did that to a guy that had a shotgun, and that can be used for hunting.
Yeah,
and
not
so
in the UK.
It can be considered a legal use of a firearm, but no.
They made them illegal so nobody can leave again. You can't overthrow the government.
It's really amazing what's going on. The wife of the Prime Minister of Spain, who's really, really far left, was charged with corruption. They were done with corruption. I'll bring you all of that when we get back. We got news here at the bottom of the hour, and we'll get that for you, and then we'll come back. She'll be standing trial now. And Pedro Sanchez is the hard left leader in Spain who's been fighting Trump tooth and nail ever since Trump was reelected. So we'll talk a little bit more about this, that what's going on in Spain doesn't fall that far from the tree, so to speak. Let's get to the news.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. One's a Democrat, the other is a Republican. Targets of sexual misconduct allegations, they're quitting Congress. Democrat Eric Swalwell of California and Republican Tony Gonzalez of Texas are calling it quits. President Trump standing firm on his insistence of a nuclear-free Iran. That's why he says the U.S. has imposed that naval blockade on Iranian ports. And there are reports of a second round of U.S.-Iran talks that could take place later this week. The president says he's not about to apologize for his criticism of Pope Leo. Referring to the pontiff, we quote the president, "I think he's very weak on crime and other things, so I'm not going to apologize." On Wall Street this morning, stocks are higher. The Dow is up 198 points. NASDAQ ahead 267. More details, srnnews.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, Google Salem Surround Little Rock today. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level.
In his new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, Dinesh D'Souza brings the new Middle East into focus with a message of perseverance, faith, and a shared global destiny.
Could the fate of the world, of humanity itself, be somehow tied to this place?
At long last, we have peace in the Middle East.
Israel and Christians are coming together in a way they have never been before since the book of Acts.
But is this the end of Hamas and radical Islam? What does the Bible say?
We have to become fighters in the spirit for God. We don't accept what the enemy wants to do with our culture. We don't accept what he wants to do with the nation. If we keep fighting, we win.
Powerful, prophetic, a must-see movie based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller. The Dragon's Prophecy combines history and scripture with faith, justice, and renewal. The Dragon's Prophecy, a new film by Dinesh D'Souza. Now available on Amazon, YouTube, and iTunes. This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com. 101.1, The Answer. The Dave Ellswick Show is back. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, Thune is doing some things about the border again, but this time, because he can't get any backing from the Democrat Party, they just vote everything down, no matter if they agreed with it a couple of years ago or not. They're saying, nope, won't do that now because it gives Donald Trump another win. So they stand against Donald Trump all the time. Thune is now going to use reconciliation to fund ICE and the border protection for 3 years. That's the rest of Trump's term. Now, are they going to get behind it? Let's say then the president gets done with his term and Marco Rubio or Vance win the presidency. Will they line up and support one of those two guys, or will they have just Republican derangement syndrome? If successful, this reconciliation bill funding would fund the border protection through the end of Trump's term. Senate Majority Leader Thune said this: "It is clear we can't rely on Democrats to fund law enforcement when it comes time to pass fiscal year 2027 funding in September, and so Republicans are going to take up a reconciliation bill to fund border security and immigration enforcement for the next 3 years. Senator Graham and the Senate Budget Committee are already working on a budget resolution to set up consideration of the bill. And I want to see the Senate take up this resolution and the subsequent bill to follow without delay. We need to keep this process tight and focused so that we can get it done. Otherwise, we're going to end up in the unacceptable situation where parts of the Department of Homeland Security are going unfunded, not just now, but for the long term." From Just the News, report says the move follows the Democrats declining to pass the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill that led to a protracted shutdown of the department, which is still ongoing. So, the Democrats are going to be forced to, fund, Homeland Security and the Border Patrol, ICE. They're going to have to because the Republicans are going to do it in the Senate through reconciliation. So keep that in mind. So tomorrow is tax day. It's the 15th of April. And what are Democrats doing? What are they talking about? Tax hikes. Of course, that's what Democrats do. While Americans are going to be out scrambling to get their tax files submitted, or at least their extension requests filed by the April 15th deadline, Democrat leaders are pushing to tax the rich even more so than they already do. The Wall Street Journal reports tax day has arrived again, and our April 15 condolences to those who pay the bulk of the nation's bills. It's a smaller group than many Americans realize, and those figures bear repeating as Democrats renew their line that the rich won't pay their fair share. Senator Cory Booker has a bill to raise the top individual income tax rate to 43% from the 37% that it is today. That's not going to pass. I can tell you right now, it won't pass. Senator Chris Van Hollen wants 49%. That won't pass either. Both proposals would also eliminate income taxation by many lower earners, yet the notion that America's income tax is biased against the working class is a progressive fantasy. According to the official numbers from the IRS, the top 1% of income tax filers in 2022 contributed 40.4% of the revenue. The top 10% of filers paid 72%, and the top quarter contributed 87%. The reason the left loves the fair share language is that it excuses Democrats from ever having to define it. If the top 10% of income tax filers are already paying nearly 3/4 of the burden, what would Mr. Booker and Mr. Van Hollen consider equitable? 80%, 85%, 90, 100%? Our guess is that they'd take it all if they could somehow spare George Soros and their donors in the trial bar. Meanwhile, the average tax refund is about 11% higher so far this season compared with about the same period in 2025, according to the IRS. As of April 3rd, the average refund amount for individual filers was $3,462, up from $3,116 about 1 year ago. That, according to the IRS, they reported that on Friday. So when you hear that the rich need to pay their fair share, they are already paying their fair share, paying more than their fair share. This is one thing that my wife and I get into a lot of times. She thinks that the more money you make, the more you should be taxed. And I look at her and I said, yeah, we're making more money now than I've ever made in our marriage. But we don't have more because the government takes more. So a pox on your thoughts.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Like, I mean, it's crazy to me that you want to tax all these wealthy people so you can give money to wherever to promote trans awareness to another country, like
low income people.
No, they're giving all they use it as their own slush fund, and it's disgusting.
Of course they do. Once they figured out that's what Jefferson told us. When the public figures that they can vote themselves money out of the public treasury, democracy would do what? It would die.
Yep.
That's what he said. It would die. Well, we've been doing it for a long time now, and I can tell you right now that this country is not as free as it was when I was younger. You could do a lot of things in the country. You can't do them now. They've made them, made it so that you can't do those things. So keep that, that's going on as far as that goes. Bill Briggs, the deputy administrator of the Small Business Administration, has been talking about this for a long time. Linda McMahon, during Trump's first term, who was head of the Small Business Administration, talked about it then too. And it's that people don't understand. I don't know if it's not that they don't understand. They just want money.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to give them other people's money because that's what's going on here.
Because other people are lazy or they can't figure out how to do it themselves, so they need your money.
Yeah, they don't go out and get a marketable skill or anything like that. I mean, that's the first thing I taught my kids as they were wanting to know, what do you got to do to be successful in life, Dad? And I said, get a marketable skill.
Yeah.
Don't
have a backup plan after that.
Don't be going out and going to get a college degree because somebody's telling you that you need a college degree, and it doesn't matter what the degree is in.
Mm-mm.
And it does. You need a marketable way of making money.
Not philosophy.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna try to get the pro-lifers on tomorrow,
actually,
which I belong, so that we can talk to them about how the Biden administration was persecuting pro-life groups.
We have Arkansas Right to Life on.
Okay.
Amber Singleton.
All right. She's the new person who's running the program, and be fun. Is she coming into the studio? See if we can get her to come in the studio.
I don't have a number for her, so I'm assuming she's coming in.
Okay.
I'll check. I'll check.
We need to have her come in and meet with her and talk with her and let her tell people about herself because, she's brand new.
Yeah.
Absolutely brand new.
Everyone's used to Rose.
Yeah. Everybody is used to Rose. Rose used to come on my show
years.
All the time. And, my goal with her was I would tell her, okay, you tell me what you need everybody to know about what's going on here in Arkansas, and I'll tell them what the pro-deathers are up to. And she would never say she's called them pro-choice. I call them pro-death.
Yeah, I mean, this report, when you looked at me a while ago, and I was just like going,
yeah.
My face was because I was reading this, and what I read was just ridiculous because the thoughts in my head are like, you're literally sending people to prison for saving babies.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Biden Department of Justice has weaponized federal law to prosecute pro-lifers and to give them longer sentences in prison.
We could talk to Clint about that. He was counsel for a group there in Tennessee that were found guilty of a federal law that said you can't block the entrance to an abortion clinic, and I think some of them were getting well over 20 years.
Well, that's what this is. The Department of Justice under Biden withheld evidence and approved aggressive arrest tactics when targeting pro-life defendants, and then slapped them with longer prison sentences than pro-abortion ones, according to an explosive internal review released today. The Department of Justice revealed the stunning abuses in a nearly 900-page report after examining more than 700,000 records related to the Biden administration's prosecutions under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
and check this. This is the part that had my head rolling. Former Attorney General Merrick Garland set up a national task force to pursue cases against pro-lifers the month after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June 22. Like, how do you spend taxpayer dollars to go after people who are trying to save babies?
Yeah.
Like, it just baffles my brain.
There's the left. I mean, that's what they do. This is what they do.
It just baffles me.
They'll let the courts do it for them, though. So anyway, we'll talk to Clint about that. There was a lady that he represented that was nearly 70 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and she got 20 years in prison. She was going to die in prison.
Well, after this report, I think I'd be going back and taking a look at this report and see if those were one of the cases.
Well, they're getting out. They're already out. They got out. The president.
But anybody who has been arrested and served a lot of time. I think
that's
I
a
wonder
good
if you
idea.
have. I wonder if you can sue for that. Like,
We'll talk to Clint about
yeah.
it. Clint's going to be with us here in about 15 minutes to bring us up to date on the Secretary of State race and what's going on with that. And, where are we in the court system, yada, yada, yada. So we'll be talking about that here in just a few moments. But right now, I'm going to let some of our advertisers talk to you. And we're going to pay some bills, and then we'll be back and finish up the 9 o'clock hour. It's going fast today here on the Dave Ellswick Show.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
The price of gold is surging to new highs. It's already topped $5,000 an ounce. The only question is, how much money will you make when gold hits $6,000 an ounce? Investors like you have made small fortunes off the run-up in precious metals, and not just with gold stocks or ETFs. Many have taken advantage of a little-known gold investment officially released by the U.S. government. Now you can too when you get our free special report from veteran trader and investor Jim Woods. It's called Gold Wealth Boosters. This new report outlines amazing gold investments that have returned 12 to 26 times more than investing in gold bullion itself. Given the uncertainty in world markets, the investments outlined in Jim Woods' Gold Wealth Boosters report are crucial in 2026, and it's free. To get your free Gold Wealth Boosters report, log on to eaglegoldreport.com. eaglegoldreport.com. That's eaglegoldreport.com.
The conservative voice of Arkansas. The Dave Ellswick Show on 101.1. The Answer.
All right, back here on the Dave Ellswick Show. We are about 9 minutes away from getting the local news and get caught up on what's happening around the world and what's going on with the president and everybody else. All right, so we want to give you a refresh on the news that you got at the bottom of the hour. Bottom of the hour, you get about 90 seconds. Top of the hour, you get a full 5 minutes of news to bring you up around the world. We'll find out what the president is saying about the Strait of Hormuz. I'm wondering what he's going to do about the British. The British aren't doing, squat now about that. Who would we talk to, Val, about down in Texas, the Muslim enclave that they're trying to build down there? Because we got one up here too. Who runs? Who do we get the information from about that? Do we know?
That one that I sent you over the weekend?
Yeah.
I'd have to find out who that is. But here, I mean, it would just be someone from housing, because it's a private establishment. You know, it was passed in the 90s. They started passing that.
Yeah,
They've only built 5 houses here, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as it is over in the Texas one, which is only 5 hours away.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a British.
They're trying. Are they not trying to build a big mosque there? Where they're at here in Little Rock.
They're trying to build a mosque, community center. They want it. I believe in the documents that I looked at, it says that you can't drink in your house if you buy the. Like, I think that's part of the problem where it's at, because it's in over on John Barrow. Like, that's part of the reason that nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to be told they can't drink in their house.
Yeah, and
there's just not. We have laws, and I don't understand how that's working in Texas, because do they not have fair housing laws?
Oh yeah,
Government,
I mean, who was it? The governor said that that was dead, that they can't build anything else on.
Well, I mean, unless you buy it with cash and pay for it with cash, and you don't have a loan, because that's what dictates. You know, I was in housing, and when you buy a house with cash, you don't have to have fair housing, okay, unless you're renting the house out.
Now, I would think that you can't have Sharia law because that's unconstitutional.
Well, do you know that there's specific lenders that deal with Sharia law? Did you know that? That's very interesting.
Saying that they can only have a certain portion of Sharia law?
No, I'm saying there's lenders that deal. Muslims aren't supposed to have a loan. They're not supposed to owe money. They're not supposed to, like, that's the craziest thing. Like, the things that they put forth are so nuts. And like, their toilet has to be facing left. Like, there's certain builders that even have to build a house that's.
So the house is supposed to be facing the east, is what you're telling me.
I guess. I know their toilet has to be facing a certain way. And
so when they
it's just crazy.
Get on their knees to pray, they're facing the east.
You pray in your toilet?
And to island.
I don't know. So you have to sit to your left to go to the bathroom. I mean,
I don't know.
I know, and it's crazy. But there's also, but I would, but like I said, unless those houses are being bought and paid with cash, I would think that's the only way that they can continue without running into fair housing. Because in loans, it has to be. You can't tell someone what kind of religion. It can't be religious. You know what I mean? In government loans.
Okay, so we got to find out who we got to talk about.
Yeah,
that can give us the skinny on all of this, because there's got to be something going on if they're being able to. You say they've built 5 homes.
There's 5 homes here
for over 40 years.
Yeah, well, 20 maybe.
Okay.
I don't know when they actually got started on it. I know it was approved like in the 90s, and then I think 2014 they maybe started building them, but there's not been that much of a
demand.
Yeah. But, now more and more people, like I've got several in my apartment complex that are Muslim. And so there's more and more people.
They've got a bigger group that may want to buy into this.
Right. And to me, it's a cult. Dave, that's what you do when you live in a cult. You live around the church. You go, that's a cult. Yeah. Like, look at Waco. Look at all the different cults. They live on the property. Like, I'm not talking about a preacher. They live on they have their own little house. I'm talking about the members. Like, that's a cult. You don't want intrusion. You don't want to be around anyone else. I mean, do you see the gates on the one that I sent you from Texas?
Oh, yeah.
Those gates were keeping people out. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought a church was supposed to keep people in or bring people in. It didn't look very welcoming.
No, they keep people out and they keep people in.
Didn't look very welcoming.
Keep them from leaving. Let me make a couple of emails and maybe I'll get somebody from
French might know about that, but I know he's not going to be with us tomorrow. But
a group in Texas, they can talk about that. And however they're doing it in Texas, whatever's working, they're probably improvising in other places.
Well, did you see that guy when they pulled up? She was like, I'm getting in the car, because she'd already dealt with them, and that's a British documentary company that's doing this, and they were like. And the security came out and started calling him Muslim phobia or whatever, Islamophobic. And he was like, I'm just looking around and you're calling me Islamophobic. And, there was no reason for them to, because that's what they throw at you. Like you're racist.
Of course, because
I am Islamophobic.
Because
I won't deny it.
People won't let us live by, sticks and stones might break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
I'm not scared of Muslims, so I'm not a phobia of it. It's like you're not turning my country into what you left.
I understand.
You're not doing it. So it's not a fear of Islam. It's you ain't doing it here.
Yeah. Well, we got to figure out what they're trying to do exactly. And then maybe there's some different laws that need to be passed to keep them from continuing. Evidently, they got past the initial stage because, like you said, there's 5 homes that are built. If that's all they've gotten in 20 years,
demand.
It's not like everybody is demanding a home over there.
But there's more of them coming here now.
See what's going on. All right, so we'll just leave it at that. But I want to find out get somebody on to tell us how they can use Sharia law in an area and not give you your constitutional rights, because I got to believe the supremacy of the Constitution overtakes what they got.
Yeah, even if they put it in the HOA, there's a
absolutely
document or something like that. It's still
you still can't.
It's my house. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, not whatever I want, but I can drink alcohol.
You still can't go over the supremacy clause of the United
you
States.
can't marry a 12-year-old and live there.
No, and they can marry down to 9-year-olds. All right, let's take a break, and we'll talk about what's going on in the Secretary of State's fight that's going on right now, and we'll talk to Clint Lancaster about this thing about we found out that Biden's people were out to get pro-lifers and have them sent to jail for a lot longer time. That's all coming up on the Dave Ellswick Show.
Find us at 1011fmtheanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump is holding fast to his vision of a nuclear-free Iran.
The standoff between the U.S. and Iran has deepened as Washington's declared it had blockaded Iran's ports, and Iran is threatening to strike targets across the region. Pakistan says officials are racing to bring the sides together again for more talks. Though last week's ceasefire is appearing to hold, the showdown over the Strait of Hormuz has risked reigniting hostilities and deepening the region-wide war's economic fallout. The blockade applies to vessels going to and from Iranian ports. The move could restrict the passage of the few ships that Iran considers friendly, which have been permitted to traverse the strait, as Iran has curtailed maritime traffic since the start of the war. I'm Charles Philidesma.
And there are reports a second round of U.S.-Iran talks could take place later this week. Maryland Democrats have failed to redraw the state's congressional map ahead of the midterms. Setback for Democrat Governor Wes Moore. He had cited President Trump's GOP-friendly redistricting campaign.
The clock officially ran out on the proposal late Monday night as the state legislative session ended, a casualty of internal party disagreements. In the end, the Maryland Senate left the bill in a committee, with Democrats who controlled the chamber concerned it would backfire under judicial review. As in usual, mid-decade redistricting continues next week. Democrats will not be poised to pick up a seat in Maryland, where the proposed map would have made it easier for voters to oust the state's lone Republican member of the U.S. House. Governor Moore calls President Trump's efforts to redraw congressional maps to favor Republicans unfair. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Led by soaring energy prices, wholesale inflation shot higher last month. Producer Price Index gained about 0.5% from February, up 4% from a year ago. Now on Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow is up 284 points. While the NASDAQ is ahead 280 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
I talked to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382. The founder of Evergrande, once China's largest real estate firm, has pleaded guilty to a series of fraud charges.
67-year-old Hui Kaiyan expressed remorse, according to the Shenzhen court reports, as he pleaded guilty to a string of charges. The company had taken millions of dollars in pre-sale funding from potential house buyers that were not used for construction. Instead, the funds were diverted to new projects, which resulted in hundreds of unfinished properties across China. The company expanded rapidly by borrowing large amounts of money until Beijing introduced new rules to control real estate debt.
The BBC's Laura Bicker reporting from Beijing. An assailant has opened fire at a high school in southeastern Turkey. At least 16 people wounded before the gunman took his own life, according to police. News and analysis, townhall.com. Known as a gateway to the West, there's another nickname you might apply to Omaha. The city could also be called the sinkhole capital of the Midwest.
Video of a sinkhole that swallowed 2 vehicles in Omaha, Nebraska captured attention around the world, but hundreds of others happened with little notice. Over the past 5 years, city work crews reported more than 2,100 cave-ins, ranging from small dips in the pavement to gaping chasms. Though most are minor, a Flatwood Free Press analysis found that Omaha sees more cave-ins than several other Midwestern cities. Geologists say the city's susceptibility to sinkholes comes from its soil. Keith Peters reporting.
President Trump used a McDonald's delivery to the Oval Office to promote a tax policy that benefits tip earners, allowing workers to deduct up to $25,000 from income that is earned on tips. More on these stories, townhall.com.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer.
This is my home and my family, and little pests had invaded it and were ruining our wonderful home. But now we have the Bug Man to protect us. They inspect regularly to keep out the termites, ants, roaches, and other pests. They even protect our yard in the summertime with Bug Man mosquito treatments. And the Bug Man does it for way less than those national companies.
Get the upper hand. Call the Bug Man at 663-9464 or go to bugman.com. Schedule your free inspection. No contracts required. The Bug Man has been serving our community for 44 years.
All right, back with you last hour of the Dave Ellswick Show for a Tuesday. And it's been a good show thus far today. It really has been. We've been talking about all the different things going on around the world and going on here in the States. And Clint Lancaster joins us on the Dave Ellswick Show.
Waiting
Clint,
for him to call.
we're still waiting for him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as soon as you call, Clint will get you and on, and we'll talk to him. He'll he'll bring us up to date on what's happening with the recount that's going on in Saline County and the Secretary of State runoff election, and where we are as far as the courts involved. Hey, Clint, before I get there, I wanted to talk to you. There was a story that came out today about how the Biden administration went after pro-life groups and pro-life demonstrators much more hard than they did after the folks that were, pro-choice. Biden DOJ weaponized federal law to prosecute pro-lifers and give them longer prison sentences. Now, you know about this because you represented several pro-lifers, correct?
That's correct. We had a group come through some of the same people who were D.C. and Michigan and other places, Tennessee, were some of the same people that were doing pro-life activities in Arkansas. And this was back before the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. And so, yes, our clients were charged with misdemeanor trespassing here in Arkansas. They could not get the DOJ to indict them. I mean, it's Arkansas. You're not going to get. It's a pretty pro-life state. So, right. But yeah, they had one of my clients, a judge in Michigan. She had done the same thing. What they did was they would just stand in front of abortion clinic entrances, and they wouldn't move until they got arrested. And while the cops were like, "Hey, you have to move," another people is like counseling the mom who's walking in to get the abortion and trying to talk her out of it. And so it was completely nonviolent. And there was no violence. I mean, these people were praying. They're big time Christians. And what happened in Michigan was one of them, the judge found that she was such a danger to abortion clinics that she remanded her into custody. And so it's not like she was, standing in front of a clinic entrance was so outrageously dangerous that the judge put her in jail pending the outcome of trial and sentencing. So, but, I do remember inauguration night. I was in D.C., and I remember being there hanging. I was so cold. I was in my hotel room when my J-sters got pardoned, okay, and then my pro-lifers got pardoned by Trump. So that was a great feeling to be able to call your clients and get them out of prison or tell them they don't have to report prison.
Yeah, it's just so amazing. It seems like to me, anybody who was taking part in this with the Biden's, Department of Justice should have had their law license taken away from them.
Yeah, you would think so, especially in light of the fact how they've gone after people who did election integrity work and took their law licenses, like John Eastman, for example. He got disbarred over that. Kenneth Chesbrough, who was one of the masterminds behind the alternate electors, got disbarred out of, I think, New York, but not Texas. Texas was like, nothing wrong with this. So, it was it's sad when, it's sad to see that be weaponized. And I've started to see more conservatives going into this type of lawfare against people they don't agree with who are also conservative. And that's concerning as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it from either side, but that's the problem. If one side does this, the other side's going to say, well, we got to get revenge. I mean, that's why Gonzalez is, and he should step down, but that's why he's stepping down today is because Falwell stepped down today.
Yeah. I think both those guys need to step down. I mean, there's the rules in Congress, and the rules say that you cannot be engaged in sexual relationships with your staffers. And both Gonzalez and Falwell both violated that. And it's good that they stepped down. They were about to join George Santos and being expelled.
Yes. Yeah. And that, how do we clean this kind of stuff up though, Clint? I mean, the people of this country got to be getting sick of seeing this going down. What can we do besides, turning up the polls and getting enough people to agree with us to get those people out of office. Is there any other steps you could take against them?
There's really not. So once you get into the House, and the same thing is true at the state level. You can get expelled or you can get removed from office, but that's up to the members of the House. It's up to Congress to police itself, and without Congress policing itself, you just have this cesspool of, I don't know what you would want to call it, but it's not how we do things here in Arkansas.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Okay, enough on that. Bring me up to date on what's happening with the SOS going on here in the state of Arkansas.
Sure. So I'm not really at full liberty to discuss everything about it, but it's suffice to say that, I think it was Friday, we obtained information that that there were some other voting irregularities across multiple counties, and we're currently digesting that information. And these are counties that are not just the 6 that we recounted, and it's not just Saline County. So we're looking to see, we're counting these improper, what I would consider to be improper votes, to determine if, the threshold here is 948 votes, and that's not a large margin at all in a statewide race. So we're currently determining whether or not we want to bring more election contests than just Saline County. And the reason why we're waiting is because if we, number one, Judge Fox was very specific about what he wanted, and we intend to give that to him. But also, if we have other counties, we can add those counties into the same lawsuit with Saline County and have all our election challenges right there in front of Judge Fox without having to file a bunch of separate independent lawsuits.
Okay, so right now you're still looking to find who's got elections that were held that were not held up to the type of the way they should have been. They didn't follow the rules the way they should have.
That's correct. That's correct. We're just let's just take Saline County alone, right? With its problems. Let's say the judge voids the election in Saline County. That puts Brian Norris over the top of Kim Hammer, and he's running for the position in November instead of Kim Hammer. So we have 20 days. We had our earliest certifications hit on Monday of last week. And so we have a couple of weeks right here because we have 20 days to make this determination. And while I'd love to be refiled yesterday and back in court, it's just more prudent from a legal standpoint to digest this information and determine whether or not we want to add it into our ongoing or upcoming lawsuits.
Do you have any thoughts about how you think this is going to play out, or is this all just new territory that's being plowed right now?
Well, Dave, you have to remember that our election contest statutes, so there's statutes about how you challenge an election, and those statutes date back to the end of Reconstruction or to Reconstruction in Arkansas when Republicans controlled the government. They put these laws in place to make sure that elections couldn't be cheated because there was a lot of that going on back then. It was pretty rampant. But as the Democrats got control, they diluted it through litigation and case law and precedent. And really our election contest statutes, in my opinion, are antiquated and they need to be overhauled. I tried when I was a lobbyist about 4 years ago or so now to get Kim Hammer or anybody to overhaul our election contest statutes, and it didn't go anywhere. But I think, I guess to answer your question with that, I preface that to say there's really no telling what's going to happen here. The question is going to be, does the judge think that the results are seriously in doubt? What is the judge going to do is the biggest question that faces a lot of lawyers in a lot of cases, and this one's no different.
All right, so you've kind of brought us up to date on where we're at. We've got to wait until we see what happens. Is that basically is what you're saying? So when you say you have 20 days, is that 20 business days?
No, it's 20 straight days.
Okay.
20 days, counting weekends and holidays. And I think I have to go back and look at my notes, but I think that we tagged that date as being sometime, not this, maybe next Monday or the Monday after. I can't remember. I'm not in front of my computer at the moment.
Okay.
But we're watching it. We're tracking it hot.
All right. Well, let's, if something happens, you have Val's number. You give her a call. We'll get you on that day to talk about what has changed. How's that?
Sounds good. And I will be glad to keep you and Val updated and your listeners. And, when I have an update, I'll reach out. Until then, thank you for having me on your show again.
No problem, Clint. I appreciate your time. And as our listeners know, I have a lot of respect for your jurisprudence that you practice. So thanks so much for being a part of the Dave Ellswick Show.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye now. All right. That's Clint Lancaster. And he's a good lawyer, man. He really is. He's been all over the United States dealing with electioneering, as I like to call it. I could have used him back in the 60s in Chicago. I'm just telling you. I mean, when I make the statement, vote early and vote often, that's a mantra in Illinois and Chicago. Democratic Party there is so corrupt, it's absolutely ridiculous.
No, imagine that.
And then, when Daley Sr. Was the mayor of Chicago, he delivered the necessary votes to John Kennedy to win the election that year. It would have been a razor thin decision, but Nixon would have won that election. But Nixon decided, for whatever reason, I didn't run around in his circles. I wasn't a Nixon vibe kind of person. But the bottom line is that he just said, "Okay, I lost," and let it go. Didn't press the issue. Could have, but didn't. And I think he would have had probably a pretty good, some really good law behind him to have kept John F. Kennedy from having getting those votes. And they were union votes, and Daley controlled the unions in Chicago. So, and there were boxes. Let's put it this way: there were suddenly boxes of votes that suddenly showed up to be counted, and weren't there when this started, but suddenly showed up.
Just out of the blue, huh?
And nobody saw it. Of course, they didn't have cameras back then, watching the ballots and things of that nature like they got now. But I'm sure, however they're doing it in Chicago now, if the Democrats haven't changed their stripes, I'm sure, and are still cheating in elections there in Chicago. It's a corrupt city. It really is. It's a great city. I love Chicago. I like going back and visiting. I would not want to live there any longer. I lived there for almost 28 years, and that was enough for me. And since that time, I've lived in Texas and in Arkansas.
I've never, ever, ever went to Chicago. I just don't want to.
Man, it's a good city. It really is. You'd find that there's a lot of great restaurants. There's a lot of things to do. But I will tell you, if you're going to go, talk to me, and I'll tell you where to avoid.
I was going to say one wrong turn and.
Yeah, there's a way you go over there where Cabrini Green isn't there any longer. But if you're next to the White Sox Park, you're in the wrong part of the city. You're wrong place to be. Last night I was watching television, and I was watching a documentary on Al Capone. And I'm sitting there watching, and all these stories that they're talking about, I didn't live through them, but I grew up with them. I mean, I know who Capone was and what he was and what he did, and how many people that he killed, and and things of that nature. And my wife looked at me and she says, "Was it that bad?" I said, "It was worse. It was worse." In 1922, there were 700 gangland slayings in Chicago, and a good over half of them were laid at the feet of Al Capone.
Yeah.
But I heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read books about him and whatnot. You know, he put soup kitchens. He was the Gotti of the 20s.
Right. He literally, the neighborhood loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people loved him in Chicago, and they thought that he was fighting the corrupt politicians, which he did, but he was fighting them so that he could corrupt the general public more. You know, it's just it's one of the strangest stories of American history is, you know, the whole thing dealing with prohibition and what the country was like at that time when everybody wanted to have a drink, but they were willing to go along with making alcohol illegal. It was just a crazy time, and it was like the Wild West, and a lot of people died. I mean, they started turning against Capone when he started shooting the city's lawyers on the step of City Hall. Mowed them down, killed them right there. So, yeah, crazy stuff. I mean, if I talk about Chicago to some people, you know, they want to ask me about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, Bugs Moran's people and all of that. And, you know, to think about this, though. They killed 5 guys at that, and still known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And
because now we don't
even think twice about it.
No.
All right. Back then, that was shocking. The people woke up on Sunday morning, opened up their newspapers, and right there in black and white were all the pictures of these gangsters laying on the floor of the garage, and they had been, shot with Tommy guns. And 2 of the guys that were shooting them were in police uniforms. So just really crazy times. All right, 10:24, we'll take a break. It's the Dave Ellswick Show here on 101.1 The Answer.
In the world of generators, trust, not marketing, defines success. Northside Power is the trusted name when the power goes out. We're ranked number 1 in generator, sales, service, and installation. No gimmick and no side hustle. No matter your home's needs, Northside Power installs, service, and monitors generators 24/7. When the power goes out, excuses don't keep your lights on. Experience does. That's Northside Power. Generators isn't something we do. It's all we do.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174.
In a world where more and more people decide what's right and wrong based on how they feel, what happens when feelings become the only moral standard? If emotions alone define truth, then who decides why murder, theft, or violence are wrong? And if someone feels justified in destroying property or harming others, on what basis can society say they're wrong? For 50 years, Dennis Prager has challenged audiences around the world to think deeply about the moral foundations of civilization. In his new book, If there is no God, he confronts the biggest questions of human existence. Why does evil go unpunished? Why do innocent people suffer? And can morality survive without God? Whether a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, this book offers serious answers for a morally confused age. Clear, provocative, and accessible. If There Is No God by Dennis Prager. Available now at PragerStore.com. That's PragerStore.com. For decades, Dennis Prager shared his wisdom with listeners around the world through his lectures, courses, interviews, and debates. Now, for the first time, the collective wisdom of Dennis Prager is being made available as a podcast. Listen to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager, with new episodes released for a limited time only as a podcast. Subscribe for free today at DennisPrager.com. That's Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager, exclusively at DennisPrager.com. The Dave Ellswick Show continues now. 101.1, The Answer.
As we move into the news at the bottom of the hour, the president just made a post on Truth Social saying Europe is desperate for energy, and yet the United Kingdom refuses to open North Sea oil, one of the greatest fields in the world. Tragic. Aberdeen should be booming. Norway sells its North Sea oil to the UK at double the price. They are making a fortune. UK, which is better situated on the North Sea for purposes of energy than Norway, should drill, baby, drill. It is absolutely crazy that they don't. And no more windmills, okay? President DJT. It's a good post by the president. But it's all those really crazy green people that have enough of power in the UK that they keep them from drilling in places where they know they got tons of oil. They won't do it. And to say that the Parliament in England is out of their minds is an understatement. Really is an understatement. But the president continues to see a lot of this stuff, and they continue to not look into it and take care of it. All right, news is coming up here in less than 30 seconds, so let's do that. Then we'll come back and finish up our Tuesday edition of the Dave Ellswick Show. Tomorrow, we'll have Congressman Westerman on, and we'll have some other guests on as well. But right now, we got your news for you right here on the Dave Ellswick Show.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. An appeals court panel says federal judge James Boasberg must end his intrusive contempt investigation of the Trump administration for failing to comply with an order to turn around planes carrying Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador last year. The court finds Boasberg abused his discretion in forging ahead with criminal contempt proceedings. President Trump suggests Iran's uncompromising stance in public when it comes to reaching a peace deal with the U.S. is mere public posturing. Pakistan continues trying to arrange another round of U.S.-Iran peace talks following last weekend's first round of negotiations in Islamabad. There are reports that a second round of discussions could take place before the week is over. Stocks higher on Wall Street. The Dow is up 316 points. NASDAQ trading 325 points higher. This is SRN News.
I talked to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing. and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on the dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
You can watch the show right now. The Dave Ellswick Show is streaming live on Facebook. This is 101.1, The Answer.
All right, back with your Dave Ellswick Show. And so the president is working to try to make housing more affordable for people. And he's come out to talk about that. I've been waiting for a story to appear to give us all of the different points that he has. Iran has, they want to have more talks with the United States as the U.S. continues the blockade on ports. The peace talks between the U.S. and Iran could restart as soon as Thursday this week after President Trump imposed a blockade on Iranian ports. A fragile truce between Tehran and Washington remains in place as leaders attempt to negotiate a wider deal, and a senior U.S. official told Fox News Tuesday that the U.S. and Iran have, quote, all the ingredients of a deal. Just hasn't happened yet, but they expect it to happen. If you want to see how crazy it looks over in the Strait of Hormuz, you can pick up a story on Fox News that says U.S. and Iran have all the ingredients of a deal, according to senior officials, and they have a a computer shot from one of our satellites, and they have the boats in different colors, and you can see how many boats there are sitting there going nowhere, just sitting there. And Jonathan Schwarzer, executive director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, was talking about the effectiveness of the U.S. blockade at the Strait of Hormuz. The story goes, the U.S. and Iran have all the ingredients of a deal, but have yet to come to a final agreement. That, according to a senior U.S. official who was talking to Bill Hemmer today. A lot is happening, and a lot will happen again tomorrow. That may be why Congressman Hill won't be with us. He's been part of all of that. We have all the ingredients of that deal, but it's not all there yet. The official added that President Trump's blockade on the Iranian ports has Tehran really fearful and more open to making a deal. U.S. General Command says it successfully blocked all vessels traveling to and from Iranian ports and coastal areas in the first 24 hours. CENTCOM says the blockade is being enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering and exiting Iranian ports. It added that 6 merchant vessels complied with U.S. directions to turn around. More than 10,000 U.S. service members are participating in the blockade, including over 100 aircraft and 18 warships. So that's that's where we're sitting right now. There could be new talks as early as Thursday with the Iranians, but we'll just have to sit and wait and see, because right now the president is putting all kinds of pressures on Iran. He's broken them militarily. That part of the operation is over. Now he's getting to the point where he's ready to break them completely economically. And if he does that, Iran as we know it is going to be where it doesn't hardly exist anymore as far as that goes. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Mike Walls, said that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that the price hikes seen since the Iran war are transient, and he predicted that, look, they haven't even made their 6 weeks yet. They said 4 to 6 weeks. We're just closing in on the last week. Bessent made the statement Tuesday as the U.S. enforces a blockade on Iranian ports. Quote, there is nothing more transient than what we are seeing now. So, the conflict is going to end. Prices are going to come down, and then headline inflation will come down. And with that, gasoline prices will come down. We've seen them edging back down in the past 10 days. Benson went on to say that the U.S. will not allow passage for any countries or companies that pay Iran's fee for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, China has been slamming the U.S. military blockade as a dangerous and irresponsible move. Of course, they're going to say that because they get about 20% of their oil from the Iranians. The U.S. blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, in effect, as Trump warns Iranian ships are going to be eliminated. He said any of them that try to run the blockade basically are going to find out what the cartels have found out about trying to run drugs here into the United States. And China slammed the ongoing U.S. military blockade of the Strait of Hormuz as a dangerous and irresponsible move. The remark from the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman came after the U.S. began enforcing a blockade on Iranian ports and key waterways at 9 o'clock Monday. President Trump ordered the blockade after peace talks with Tehran collapsed over the weekend. Quote, with the temporary ceasefire agreement that's still in place, the United States ramped up military deployment and resorted to a targeted blockade. This will only aggravate confrontation, escalate tension, undermine the already fragile ceasefire, and further jeopardize safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz, said the Chinese diplomat. A complete ceasefire can fundamentally create conditions for easing the situation. We urge relevant parties to honor the ceasefire agreement, stick to the direction of peace talks, and take concrete actions to de-escalate the situation so that normal traffic via the strait will be able to resume as soon as possible. The White House did not immediately respond Tuesday to make a comment about what the Chinese were saying. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway between Iran, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates, and is one of the world's most critical energy choke points. It carries roughly 20 million barrels of oil a day, along with about 1/5 of global liquefied nat gas. And that is something that you need to understand, that there's a whole lot of oil that flows through there and natural gas. So, and it's hurting China because they take 20% of it. And see, China has the same problem that Japan had during World War II. They don't have a lot of their own natural resources. I mean, if I were the Russians, I would keep a very close eye on China because they might want those oil fields on the eastern shores of Russia. And as we've seen, Russia's military hasn't been the stellar fighting force that they have said that they are. So we're going to have to see what's going to have to happen about a lot of their of this stuff going on. I have an excerpt from an opinion article by Fox News contributor Hugh Hewitt here in front of me. Take a listen to this. From the moment the talks between the United States and the Islamic Republic of Iran commenced in Islamabad, Pakistan on Saturday, only one of three results could follow. Munich, 1938, with the U.S. appeasing Iran. Reykjavik, 1986, with diplomatic deadlock. Or Appomattox, 1865, with the exhausted and broken Iranians surrendering to the final hard reality of what the United States has done. And it turns out that it was Reykjavik 2.0 with Vice President J.D. Vance. Instead of President Reagan exiting the meetings looking stone-faced and irritated as he announced an end to the talks and the departure of the United States delegation, a blockade of all shipping from all Iranian ports commenced Monday at 9 a.m., pursuant to President Trump's order to the U.S. Navy. The Navy has already commenced mine-clearing operations in the international waters in the Strait of Hormuz on Saturday during the talks. That was quite a signal. President Trump has indicated that renewed strikes on the teetering Islamic Republic of Iran are possible as well. Israel continues to pummel Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in Lebanon. It was a very bad weekend for terrorists in the Middle East, as well as for the mothership regime that supports them all in Tehran. The Ayatollahs and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that props them up are down to their fifth-string generals and the impotent elected officials of Iran who have never had other than the power of the IRGC allocated to them. The Iranian regime has survived on terror and bluster for 47 years. Now it's on the edge of collapse because of Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. So that's where they're sitting at. Regional concern is growing that Iran will instruct its Houthi allies in Yemen to target sea traffic in the gateway to the Red Sea. And Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Yinyas reported on the potential move on Tuesday, noting that it would further restrict the global oil trade. So it may be getting worse before it gets better. You know what they always say, it's always darkest before the storm. And, Iran is on its last legs. Make no doubt about it. They're about ready to collapse. I just don't understand why they don't try to reach some kind of a meeting of the minds with the United States that will save some of what it is that they built up over the last 47 years, but it doesn't look like that is going to happen. All right, let's take a break. And a Pakistani general now says that Iran's diplomacy is still alive despite the U.S. Blockade, and that the Iranians have failed on the peace talks. U.S. began enforcing the naval blockade, you know that, started yesterday. That escalated tensions in the Gulf just hours after the high-level talks in Pakistan between Washington and Tehran collapsed without a deal. The move announced by President Donald Trump came after negotiations in Islamabad ended without a breakthrough, despite what participants described as rare, direct engagement between the two sides. I don't know what that means, or I have to. That could mean anything. Lieutenant General Mohammad Saeed, former chief of general staff of the Pakistani army, said in an exclusive interview with Fox that the talks came far closer to success than their outcome suggests, and argued that diplomacy is still within reach. Now, is he just blowing smoke up our dress, or is he being honest? I don't know. And I'm sure that's exactly what the Trump administration is trying to figure out. Quote, both sides are saying they were very close, even inches away from a solution, he said, based on his own knowledge and reports. Now, Saeed did retire in 2023, but remained part of the core team handling operational planning, internal security coordination, and sensitive periods of political tension. They talked to each other in a very friendly manner. There was from both sides an expression of accommodation and understanding from each other. So what you can briefly say is that the engagement has sufficient potential to resume. In other words, they were arguing with each other like they do in Congress. And as they're out on the floor speechifying and saying what they want to say, they say things like, the gentleman from North Carolina made the statement, they talk like that, all right, being real nice, but aren't willing to even give an inch. It has been said that Iran's military capabilities have been significantly downgraded, saying its Navy has gone, their Air Force is gone, Their anti-aircraft is gone. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. All that remains is some people from ground troops that, I think that Iran could perhaps capitulate and save face that way. If they will, it's a different story. I think the IG folks are the ones that are making the calls now. It's the military that's in control, and they're the ones that are making these veiled threats and saying this is what could happen if this continues the way it is. All right, our final break. It's about 7 minutes till the news. So we'll come back and finish it up in a second. I think you have a pretty good idea now what we're talking about in the Middle East right now. I've given you all the latest news that we have from different organizations around the world. With that in mind, here's your break, and then we'll be back on the Dave Ellswick Show.
There's a real battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. We're your information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer.
Right here in our backyard, sellers trust Purple Wave Auction to move their equipment, from excavators and ag equipment to trucks and specialty trailers. Our no-reserve online auctions help local sellers turn iron into opportunity. You get a dedicated territory manager who knows your operation, your market, and your timeline, backed by nationwide buyer demand, local service, national reach, real results. See why more sellers choose Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com to get started today.
I've suffered from shoulder pain for about 22 years. It got to where I couldn't even wash my hair. I couldn't even brush my teeth without pain.
That's when Sophia checked out QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. All natural treatments to revitalize your damaged joint tissue and get you back to living a normal life again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime.
I chose QC Kinetics because my son, he had his back done, and he had great success with it.
Join tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have found lasting relief from their joint pain. Request a free consultation and find out if you're qualified for this therapeutic breakthrough. Call 501-808-2602.
I was in the shower washing my hair, and I realized, oh my God, I'm washing my hair and it doesn't hurt. I'm pain-free, and I want to thank you, QC Kinetics.
Isn't it time you got your life back? Call now for your free consultation. 501-808-2602. 501-808-2602.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Dave Ellswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, so let me bring you up to date a little bit on these Muslim enclaves that are opening up in different states and what's going on. Hatem Fariz has quite a rap sheet. He served roughly 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to a conspiracy to provide material support to Iranian terror proxy, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and for additional counts in a separate case involving a reported $1.4 million food stamp scam. He once bragged about assaulting a child he believed was cooperating with the Jews and laughed off a deadly bombing in Israel while helping raise funds for terror groups in the Middle East, that according to the Tampa Bay Times. But Fariz appears to have undergone a reinvention. Now he's best known as a pillar of Florida's Muslim community. Fariz landed in Florida after his release from a federal prison in 2010, according to the Tampa Bay Times, while serving as the director of the Islamic community of Tampa, also known as the Al-Aqassim Mosque. Fariz has organized pro-Palestinian protests, become a prominent community member. The local police chief, Kenneth Albano, even called him, quote, a force for reason within the Muslim community, in a story reported in the Tampa Bay Times in 2024. At the time, he was also characterized by his former attorney as the worker bee of another man convicted of supporting the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. In the same case, Sami al-Ararian, a former University of South Florida professor, the local news outlet reported. The Tampa mosque run by Fariz was registered to al-Arian's name in 1995, according to state records. Al-Ararian has since been deported to Turkey, but thanks to Fariz, he still appears to have a footprint in Florida. A new report from the Network Contagion Research Institute, or the NCRI, says that figures like Fariz are just a small part of a seemingly benign network of nonprofit religious and advocacy organizations operating in and connected to Florida that show repeated documented overlap with individuals convicted of terrorism and related offenses. Designated under U.S. sanctions, authorities or publicly associated with Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and broader Iran-aligned influence ecosystems, that according to a new report from the Network Contagion Research Institute. The report says that the Iran-aligned influence network is gaining a foothold in Florida, and the claims have caught the attention of Florida lawmakers. Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins told the Daily Wire he's 100% serious about addressing the allegations made in the NCRI's report. Have more of it tomorrow. All right. Here's your news on 1011.
KDXE, Kamak Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Tensions are still running high between the U.S. and Iran, and at the heart of the conflict, hostilities over the Strait of Hormuz.
The standoff between the U.S. and Iran has deepened as Washington's declared it had blockaded Iran's ports, and Iran is threatening to strike targets across the region. Pakistan says officials are racing to bring the sides together again for more talks. Though last week's ceasefire is appearing to hold, the showdown over the Strait of Hormuz has risked reigniting hostilities and deepening the region-wide war's economic fallout. I'm Charles Tilledesma.
U.S. wholesale prices surged last month as the Iran war drove